Season 2, Episode 15 of the Leafs Line Podcast. We got a great, grand, big, insert the metaphor here. We have a massive show for you today. We got the Toronto and the New Jersey, the post game, the Toronto Maple Leafs thump the Devils 6-1. We'll be getting our thoughts on that. The Leafs through half of a season, I believe they're at 41 games, 42, something around that nature. Doesn't really matter because we're going to analyze them and break them down, what they have done, what they've done well, what they've done poor, everything that you need to know about this Maple Leafs team on the first half of the year. We got you covered. We'll also go into the Around the League as well. This is going to be a rare podcast we haven't done in quite a while, but we're going to cover both the Leafs and the rest of the NHL. And the biggest storyline, which is quite sad to say, it involves the Arizona Coyotes, the basement of the NHL. They're rumored, and it's really darn close for them moving into the ASU. If you don't know what that is, it is the Collegiate Arizona State Sun Devils University, and they're trying to get in with them, arena plans and all that kind of stuff. We'll break it down all for you. It's a 5,000 capacity. That's the big one that everyone's talking about. There's been some NHL players as well. It's been taking some shots at the Arizona Coyotes, the NHL, and all that kind of stuff. We'll also be touching upon that because, it's just a funny situation brewing down in Arizona as they wait for their new proposal of their, I believe they're trying to stay in Arizona. I believe it's temp as well. So we'll get cooking over there. Evander Kane, he is an Edmonton Oiler. We didn't get to touch upon it last week, but we will touch upon it this week for sure. We'll be getting into our thoughts on the contract, the dollars and cents. I believe it's 1 year, 1.3. I don't know if there is, I think it's 1 year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
1 year, 1.3.
1.3, and we will be breaking that down. And what he's been doing, I know he scored his first goal as an Oiler in his debut. Is this sustainable? And did the Edmonton Oilers solve their depth problems with just one player? We'll get our takes on that after. And things to look forward to. This weekend is a big weekend for hockey, and it may be an even bigger weekend in the future of hockey. The NHL All-Star Game is hitting Vegas. Your boys down there, Evan, you're going to be able to watch an all-star game for the first time in NHL history down in Sin City. That'll be kicking off. I believe it kicks off Friday was the skills competition, and Saturday with the game. We'll be getting our thoughts on what we're going to about to see and what this league have to do to get a good mark in your books, because the NHL All-Star Game has been known for its ridiculous ratings, poor ratings, and quite frankly, boredom of watching 3-on-3 hockey. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts of what you could even do to the NHL All-Star Game to spice it up. And we got, of course, the 9th segment of trivia. We have not hit it in a while. I got some burning questions to turn over to you, and I'm hoping you can give me some straight answers. At the score to start right now, we got Jared at 11 points on the year. We got Adamo at 8 and Evan at 7 points. Is there going to be a runaway? Is there going to be fake stats, Evan? See, no, they're absolutely real stats. However, you have games in hand, so let's see if you put them to fruition.
But if I have games in hand, shouldn't I get questions that I can only answer then?
Absolutely not. I've tried to give you.
How does the game in hands work?
They don't. It's just the way of saying that.
So you're just like you're tickling my cock, and it's just nothing's happening.
There could have been 6 million different
podcasts to use.
There could have been 6 million different metaphors to use in that situation, but you go with that.
I don't think that's a family-friendly one for the podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say, kids, no for the kids when I'm making this YouTube video. But why don't we start with what almost all our YouTube videos have been based around, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we'll start with their game that they just recently played, a 6-1 killing over the New Jersey Devils. Man, I messed it up. 7. I thought I was at 6, but it is at 7. Thank you for the correction. 7-1 thumping over the New Jersey Devils. And just about everyone got on the score sheet except the guys that you might have thought. William Nylander and John Tavares failed to record a goal in this game. When everybody seemed to be scoring, Jason Spezza started off the scoring in the third period in the game before and got the boys rolling. It was 4-2 at that point. They ended up winning that game. Give me the score now because I'm not going to go back.
6-4.
6-4. Okay. They come back and win 64. So he gets the spark going. He gets the spark going tonight. And they thump them 7-1. I want to get your thoughts on the game first before I give my slice of cheddar. Evan, I'll start with you. How much of the game did you catch? And what'd you think of it? It's pretty hard to go really against this one.
I mean, I turned it off after 4-0. It kind of just became a stump at that point. And quite honestly, I was bored after that. I mean, the New Jersey Devils looked like they just shot themselves in the foot, and it looked like they tried every way imaginable to lose this game. And congratulations to them because they did. I mean, we were watching that first power play, Jared and I, and even the commentator is like, the Devils are great on the power play on both ends because they allow the most shorthanded goals. And like right after that, Marner goes in on a breakaway on Gillies, and Gillies just makes a great glove save on Marner. But I mean, it's just the team is a joke. And I remember, like, we were just talking. I mean, their defense is terrible. If you look at, I think it was their third goal, if I'm not mistaken, the goal like right out in front. There's no one there. I think like Boquist, or no, I'm sorry, the first goal they scored when Gillies got caught behind the net. There's no defensive support there once he gets caught behind the net. Boquist and Severson are just standing there. Like, they're not doing anything. It was just terrible. But, and I remember like even Matthews' goal, like, Devils players are trying to block the shot, but they're too scared. And then instead of blocking it, they set a screen. It's just not good hockey. But I'll give credit to the Leafs, though, because if you are going to win 7-1, I'm happy that everyone's contributing. You know, if it was 7-1, but you're only seeing points from Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, and then maybe like sprinkle in a little bit of Kerfoot and Mikheyev, then I'd get a little, just still a little worried, because you want everyone to contribute, but everyone did. And I think this was probably one of their best wins so far, just everyone getting on the board.
Yeah, in a full 60 minutes. And Jared, on the pre-show, we were talking about the Leafs and how rare of an occasion you not wearing a jersey, correlation with them downing a team 7-1 and then playing. I would argue maybe Adamo might go against me because he's usually the guy who's going to go against the grain with these kind of wins. But I don't know. I'll save you for the last. But Jared, full 60 minutes. What do you make of it? And I don't know, man. We haven't seen much in a while. It's a long time coming.
Yeah. I loved it. I mean, Evan's whole argument, he was a lot more criticism. As much as at the end, he sprinkled in a little bit of credit to the Leafs. Most of his argument was, you know, it happened against a shitty team, just ripping on the Devils. As much as, yes, the Devils aren't a good team. I mean, they're on a 6-game losing streak. I just have to give credit to my Toronto Maple Leafs. And all throughout the month of January, even though we were getting our wins, my whole argument's been we're not playing consistent 60-minute hockey. And way to respond to, especially last night, way to respond to that. They come in here from start to finish, absolute domination. And I just loved what I saw. I love that everyone was getting on the score sheet, especially Mitchell Marner. Now he has 16 points in 7 games and 7 goals in 7 games. So he's playing unbelievable. And in general, I just really liked what I saw tonight. There was no real mistakes or anything major. I'm happy that Jack Campbell got a win, because it was clear in his past few that he didn't look like the confident goalie that he looked like earlier in the year. I guess the break maybe I mean, not playing for a month is going to shake up anyone, especially a goaltender, where the whole point of the gig is that you need to be playing consistent hockey. He hadn't been doing that. And as a result, in January, he wasn't very confident. But way to start off February hot for Mr. Jack Campbell, Mr. Soupy, because he did everything he had to. I mean, I'm not going to say he stood on his head, because he wasn't exactly tested a ton. But when he had to, he made a few key saves. And in general, like, credit to him getting back in the win column. And he needed it after last night, where he was pulled after the first 10 minutes for letting in 3 goals. So I'm going to give credit to Campbell. I'm going to give credit to my Toronto Maple Leafs in general. Sure, it happened against a bad team, but you don't control who you're playing against. You have to win the games in front of you, and that's what the Leafs absolutely did tonight. They won the game, and they not only won, they shit kicked. They stomped all over them, so I loved it.
Yeah, and I'm going to put a pin in the Jack Campbell conversation for now. I'm going to turn over to you, Ramoli. What'd you make of the 7-1 annihilation over the New Jersey Devils, and just a lot of empty seats in those stands after what appeared to be the first period, a 4-goal explosion by the Buds? What do you make of it?
You know, you talk about empty seats, and I had to Google if there was a restriction in New Jersey. There wasn't. There wasn't. It was that empty. Sorry, Devils fans. Your team sucks, but your goalies are even worse. That was so bad. They are so bad. I'll talk about the Leafs in a sec, but I want to just talk about how bad everyone wearing black, red, and white, not named Jack Hughes, is. Because holy crap, it was a shit show. David Severson, oof. We want that guy?
No, we don't. No, we don't.
You
failed the tryout, man.
Yeah,
I think he killed the tryout on the quote-unquote power play.
Oh my god,
whatever they call that.
What 2-on-1 defensemanship there? That was unreal.
But yeah, going. I guess I don't know. What do you say about the Leafs, man? They shit on a bad team, which we expected them to do. Austin Matthews played well. William Nylander did not. John Tavares did not. That was somehow probably Tavares' worst game. He looked. It was bad. Who else played well?
He's like going down the gun, like,
Ooh, bunting. Bunting was pretty good.
I have a
Bunting was
jersey in
really
there.
good.
If I need to pull it out, I will, but I'm just gonna wait on it.
No. I'm fucking with you guys. Mitch Marner had an unreal game and has been unreal the last 7 games. I gotta say it. He's, like I said on Twitter, he's slowly winning me over. But I think, like I say it all the time on my criticism of him. My criticism, I think, is warranted, and I think a lot of people who see me shit on Mitch Marner are, they just think I'm, hating on the guy because they don't understand the criticism that much, which to each their own, whatever. But no, he's been fantastic the last couple of games. Like, there's nothing else to say. You guys kind of stole what I had in mind because there really is not much analysis in a 7-1 thumping, where I was going to bring up a stat and I remembered it. This was one of the Leafs' worst games on the deserve to win meter.
That thing, man, it is like,
you guys want to guess what?
Remember when we were talking about like how analytics
Yeah.
sucks? Like, I think you just like definitely.
That is a free analytics model. Relax, but it's become a joke at this point. Anyways, do you guys want to guess it? How did you guys see the deserve to win meter?
I
don't
did
look
not
at it.
check it. No.
Okay, do you guys want to guess?
In a 7-1 game? I'm not rushing to the deserve to win.
Yeah, I thought so, and I know I always go to moneypuck.com when we're doing a post game things. It's just a quick. It's like live updates. Do you guys want to guess what the Leafs were? I'll give you a hint. It was above 50. So they didn't lose.
65. Meet around there.
I'm gonna go 77.
Evan, do you want to guess what the Leafs
deserve to win them?
Yes. Do you want to guess their percentage?
Well, if you're saying it's one of the lowest, you said it's one of the lowest.
Yeah, but above 50. Like they won it. As they should.
I'd say 58%.
Evan, did he get it right on?
No way.
He got it 0.1 off, 57.9.
No way, actually.
Yeah.
Always, you're just never there. You're never there.
Yeah, right there.
Games in hand. Do we give him a point for that?
Oh my God, that was
Mario.
Do not.
Segments for later, man.
No. Damn. All right. I actually, that was a shot in the dark.
And I think this is a game where you kind of have to watch it to see why they dominated. I understand why the expected goals wasn't too high, because if you really think about it, the Leafs didn't have that many high danger chances. It was a lot of like the Marner goal, the 7th goal, oof. Damn. The Kampf goal, oof. Yeah. The Matthews goal, oof. Which, fair, that's Austin Matthews. I don't blame him.
Rip.
The first goal, oof. It was a bunch of oof. They sucked, and whatever. We beat them. Let's move on.
And a lot of oof for the New Jersey Devils defensive court, like we've been talking about. Man, I have never seen the slot that open that many times in a single hockey game. It was brutal. Olivia Rodrigo will be playing. It is brutal out in New Jersey. I don't know if we got anything else to really say. How about we'll get into Jack Campbell right now before we get into our Leafs halfway point of the season when we check in on them. Jack Campbell, he had a terrific outing today. He didn't get tested very often, but credit to Keefe. I remember Mrazek was projected to start and go between the pipes at the beginning of the day, and then it obviously changed, and Keefe stuck with Cat. I don't know the whole storyline behind that, but credit to him. Share it with us.
So, this is from undisclosed information from Mr. Jonathan Davis. He just said that basically, like, Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas, they were going to go through the morning skate, and then like after that kind of figure out who was going to start. But heading into, like, when they woke up this morning, they didn't know who was starting. It was kind of just like, let's see how it goes in the morning skate. And that's a little undisclosed. Yeah, and I mean, they made the right call. Obviously, Jack Campbell picking up the win. I don't know how many saves he had on the night, around the 23, 25 mark, something around there. But no, a great game. Yeah, great game to get back your confidence after getting destroyed the night before. I believe he let in 3 goals on 9 shots. 3 in the opening 10 minutes. Same thing. He was getting torched last night. Great to see him rebound. What did you guys make of his game pretty quickly? And he's going to the All-Star game this weekend. We'll be touching upon that later on in the show. All-Star games don't treat goaltenders very well. Usually they come out of the gates afterwards in a bit of a slump. Pretty bad. I remember I think Freddie Anderson went to one, and if I'm not mistaken, it was Freddie, or I could be getting my stories mixed up, but I thought Freddie went to one, and then he came back out of the gates, and it was brutal. They played horrible with him in that. So what do you guys make of Jack Campbell's night tonight? Great rebound from him, and are you singing the praise of them, or do you still got to see a little bit more? Because the recent stretch has pointed towards otherwise. Jared, I'll start with you.
Well, okay, the goaltending position in general is all about consistency. So I still need to see him put on consistent good play like he did earlier in the season. I'm not ready after this one good game to say, okay, Jack Campbell's back. He's ready to be a Vezina contender again. Because he did have a bad few weeks and he kind of fell off in the rankings and no one's really giving his praises anymore. But all throughout the year, he's been good. I don't think it's fair to entirely discredit him off a bad 2 weeks, but he does need to win some trust back and at least way to start it off with a new month. Way to start it off tonight because he had an unbelievable game. And as much as sure he wasn't tested a ton, when he was, as I said earlier, like he showed up, he was able to make a few key saves, and the team also showed up around him, provided him with 7 goals worth of goal support. And in general, like he won the game. There's definitely nothing really to criticize him after this one. But I still do need to see some more consistency as we move forward. Of course, it's not going to come until after the All-Star break. I'm happy for him. He was recognized at least earlier for his great play. Again, a few bad weeks, but he still overall in the season has had a good season. So I'm happy he's getting recognized as an all-star. And it's going to be interesting how he returns because I think how you play the goaltenders after the all-star break is going to be very key. Because in February, our schedule is pretty much ridiculous. Like it's a lot of games. And I think Keith is going to have to be really smart about how he kind of manages playing Mrazek and playing Campbell. Because both need their games, and it's not fair to overwork either because we can't afford one goalie not like being tired and overworked and not showing up. So it's going to be a very big question of how Keith is going to manage that after the All-Star break. I guess we have to kind of wait and see. But that's going to be a really interesting discussion because Campbell, we need him back to the goalie he was playing earlier. I'd say the season as a whole, he's been our MVP, and it's going to be really interesting if he could kind of rebound, if this game could start off back confident, and the hope is that he gets back to the way he was playing before because we kind of need that from our goaltender.
And goalie management is going to be huge down the stretch. I know they're going to get a lot of makeup games in the schedule in the upcoming weeks following the All-Star break. So it's going to be interesting to see how Sheldon Keefe handles that. Maybe we'll finally see that goalie tandem that was projected in the offseason come to fruition. And because Mrazek, he still has looked pretty decent between the pipes as well for the Maple Leafs. So maybe you could run it every other game, or you're going to do the back-to-backs. There's going to be a lot of them. So you won't be harmed if you do or you don't. I want to just touch upon this one thing before we move our way to the Leafs halfway point of the season. It's just, what are the thoughts on Campbell? Was he overworked, or was it the break that sort of got him out of his confidence? I'm trying to settle that in my mind. I'm sure a lot of people in Leafs Nation are debating that as well. Adam, I'll start with you. I'll transition to Evan. Two sides of the coin: overworked, or was the break just something that threw him completely off? A confidence thing, a momentum thing, anything you want to name it. Adamo, you've played the game long enough, so have you, Evan. You guys know how breaks kind of work with all this COVID shutdown stuff that you guys have probably had to go to. I personally do with my baseball career as well. But how much does it put a restraint on what you're going with if you got some momentum, if you're grooving with things? And is that the case with Jack Campbell here?
Well, I've never played the goalie position, so
Right.
I can't tell you that. But well, actually, it's a lie. I did play goalie in house league 1 year. It was the only championship I've ever won in sports. So
Hey, it's saying something.
yeah, I 1-for-1. But yeah, I can speak on. So I was at the Rams men's hockey, the ex-University of Ryerson Rams, first practice back, and they've been off for a couple months. So these guys are elite athletes, practicing every single day, playing 3 times a week. And the goalies were a mess. Like it was bad. So I'm going to lean towards not him being overworked, because he was playing games like a starting goalie, man. Like you're a starter playing starter minutes. So I'll do that. But my actual answer, I'll try to explain what I'm trying to say. Out of the two options that you presented me, it's not that he's being overworked. I think it was probably the break, but my actual answer would be this was expected. Even if there wasn't a break, Jack Campbell wasn't going to keep up like a 940 save percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And the way regression works is, you're high, and boom, 800, and then you finish somewhere in the middle. And I think we're finally hitting that middle round with Jack Campbell. I think he's still probably a top 10 goalie in the league. Like, I don't think, we're calling this guy ass. I know I called him ass in the group chat. That was, again, fishing for some bait. But
like when
it's funny. You just gotta
I love
the
it.
Nate in and watch
Sometimes
it load.
I'm just bored and I'm like, you know what? Let's just see.
Yeah.
Let's just make...
You were the king of that. You were the king of causing a ruckus. Yeah. So yeah, that's that'd be my answer on Jack Campbell.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of Leafs fans, and I will even throw myself, and I'm sure some of us might even throw ourselves in there as well, a little bit naive in thinking that Jack Campbell was going to keep up with that sort of stretch that he was on in the beginning of the year. He's putting up terrific numbers. We were so, and I said in our group chat as well, check it off the bingo card, that we were, that this guy was a Vezina caliber goalie. There was no disputing it early in the year.
Yeah.
And then this past week, I'm like, man, this guy just fell completely out as of right now. So just the tale of two goaltenders at the beginning of the year and the end, or rather than the middle of the year. Evan, I'll speak to you. Is it sort of something, are you on the same tracks as Adama here and it's more of that the break kind of threw him off, or was it overplay? And I know a lot of people can't say the overplay because what we've been seeing in the beginning of the year with a guy like Jack Campbell and how they've been dealing with him in the past, but do you see it as such?
Yeah, I mean, like the one issue is Peter Mrazek, and it's just like it was the injuries at the beginning, and then it's like not playing him, and then when you do play him, he's not helping you. He's almost hurting you more times. He was giving up a lot of stupid goals that wasn't really the Leafs defensively. It was kind of just like Peter Mrazek, like you need to play like a starting goalie. And Jared was bringing up the fact that February is just an absolute behemoth of games for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm just thinking like I view Peter Mrazek as a goalie for the Leafs that's on thin ice. And I just think if he doesn't perform well in the month of February, I think by March they try to find a trade for him because he still has 2 more years left after this, a little over $3 million. They got to find something for him because the Leafs can't win with just Jack Campbell. Like unfortunately, the way that Jack Campbell has just been treated and the way that he's just been throughout his career is that he's never been a starting goalie, and he was drafted back in like 2010. So, it's not the most ideal age to start durability, when you're around 30 years of age. So I do think a little bit has to do with him being overworked. Definitely the COVID break is an issue. I think the bigger issue is overwork and the fact that just Mrazek hasn't panned out. And I knew he wouldn't because I just knew it wasn't going to be a good fit off the bat. I thought it was a really weird situation, but they just couldn't afford to keep Freddie Anderson, but I think it's just a combination of both, where the majority being the fact that it's just the first full year and his body's not used to it.
Yeah, and the tale of two coins, right? You look at the overwork debate versus the break debate, and you kind of make your answer there. And that was an interesting storyline. I also kind of want to look and follow. This is going to be a big stretch, not only for the Maple Leafs, but Peter Mrazek as well. Just because I'm not a big fan of the contract how it's looking as of currently because of the injury problems that this guy has had. If he even stays healthy over this break, I may very well be surprised. And if you can maybe see it, and I don't want to go into this full debate because I want to get into the other Leafs nitty gritty stuff. But you can maybe see this guy getting flipped at the deadline because I think Joseph Woll, you don't want him, but you can use him if you don't want to get into that cap crunch in the next off season. It's a fine line to sort of tightrope. But again, it just speaks volumes of how important the stretch is going to be for both sides. The Leafs, Peter Mrazek, and even Jack Campbell. See if he can get back his name in the Vezina talks. But why don't we talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs in this entire season, what we've seen so far? I believe they're at 41, 42 games. They're hovering around that mark.
42, I think. Yeah.
42 after tonight. So hovering around the midseason mark. Why don't we dissect what we've seen over this midseason mark? And I'll bring up the numbers right now. They were 8-2-1 in the month of January. We'll be getting a lot into this January month because it was an interesting one to say the least. Numbers might not show and paint the full picture in the Toronto Maple Leafs system. They went 4-2-1 in December. Obviously, the break cut a bunch of those games short. Those are going to be made up in this stretch of games that we're about to see unfold. They're 12-2-0 in November. Their best record in November, their best month in franchise history. Nonetheless, terrific month to bring some headway in the division. And then 4-4-1 in October. They came out of the stretch really tough, like an anchor. Could not get any momentum going, but they finally battled through it. And the rest is history. So, gentlemen, they open up February with a win. And I don't know if you saw this stat on Twitter, on Instagram, or anything. It's been 20,000 days since the Leafs won the cup.
I saw that on Instagram. I saw that on Instagram today.
Yeah.
Someone posted that, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's hysterical."
Yep, and I had to bring that thing up because I can't believe it happened today when we were going to talk about a Leafs team with all these numbers coming up. But let us get to the nitty gritty. What do you guys make of this recent month, January? 8-2-1 record, not bad by any means or stretch of the imagination, but it's the quality of hockey that we saw this Maple Leafs team play over this past 31 days or so. Jared, I'll go with you. What did you make of the style of play that we've been seeing? Is it something that you want to change going forward, or does the record speak for itself and you just find the ways that you can win these games?
No. Well, as much as we got a lot of wins, and you can't take the wins away from them, like credit to the team that they were finding they were finding ways to win even when not playing good hockey. However, when you get to the playoffs, the wins don't matter, but how you play does, and it's something we absolutely need to change. Because I mean, you look at last year, I found the biggest difference about this year versus last year is I found we very much were celebrating being a first place and being a first place hockey team, getting all these wins when we really weren't playing great. And earlier in the season, I found we definitely were playing good style playoff-esque hockey where we were playing good defensively and whatever. But since we've returned from the break, we just haven't really had it. And I definitely want to see our game change. It reminds me a lot, and it looks a lot like how a team would play after the summer, like how a team would play in October, how a team would start the season, where we're sloppy, we're playing high-flying offense, but as well aren't really dedicating a lot of responsibility to defense. So that's a lot of how I kind of analyzed our game throughout the month. And we had a bunch of either we'd be down a lot in the game and we'd come back at the very end with, in the Detroit game, it was 5 unanswered third period goals. Against New Jersey yesterday, it was 4 unanswered third period goals. So like we've been doing a lot of, we're either playing garbage and coming back at the end, or we're starting a game off great, but then throughout the game, we blow a major lead. So I find we're definitely not playing consistent 60-minute hockey, which is a consistent problem that year after year we've seen with this team. Earlier in the year, I was so praising them that they hadn't quite blown any of these major leads yet. And this month of January, it's been consistently, there was a stat in there somewhere where we blew 5 leads in 7 games. So that's ridiculous. And overall, I just haven't really liked the way we've played. I'm happy we're getting the wins, but I don't think you can just celebrate the wins without kind of analyzing the games because we haven't played good hockey. And it's not as much a criticism that, oh, this team's screwed, whatever. It's just you guys need to pick it up a little bit because the way we're playing, at least as of the month of January, that shit won't fly come playoff time. A team will eat you alive. If you could visibly see in your game that when you have a lead, you're getting weary and panicking, like a team will feed off that and they'll eat you alive. So we just can't afford to keep playing like this. You guys know me, I'm not one to be a negative Nancy. I'm all for praising them that they're finding ways to get wins and talk about winning habits. We're displaying a lot of winning habits, but still I'm not ready to stamp them with the, oh, it was a great month because we got wins. Because if you actually watched a game and looked into it a little bit deeper, you'll see we aren't playing convincing and strong hockey right now.
Yeah.
You want to add on, Evan? Or
No, I was just gonna say, remember, like I don't remember if this was like in that sport media theory class, but it's like if you look at the analytics and you just look at the Leafs and you're saying they're 8-2-1, you think they would have absolutely dominated January. But to Jared's point, it was kind of the flip side where they were just they were doing enough to get the win, but they weren't doing enough to be dominant while winning. So I agree with all of Jared's points. I think they're all valid.
Yeah, and I was watching the broadcast today. I don't know if you guys caught it, but Ray Ferraro said something a little along the lines of what that 8-2-1 record sort of went to show. And he said, basically, you're going to notice every bump in the road when your team is playing. And you're watching the same team, the same set of players every single night. You're going to notice the littlest things that are off with this club, much as so that what we do on this podcast. But you look at like Tampa Bay, Carolina, and all these like top end teams, the Florida Panthers as well. They'll go through these stretches almost at any point of the year, but nothing really gets noticed because you kind of think they're going to be the dominant force and all that jazz. So I thought that was an interesting point to see, just because how the numbers don't always have to match the play style. And I think that's one thing that last year's playoff, and I'm going to turn over to Ramoli in just a second. It was that last year's playoff, for me at least, and a lot of people residing in Leafs Nation, that it doesn't matter what these numbers throw at you or what how many wins you're collecting. It's about the style of play and how much you can switch on a dime. That's what matters more than anything else, how you're playing game in, game out. And I think Leafs fans are just noticing now that it doesn't really matter what the numbers are saying, like you mentioned, Jared. It's all about what you're seeing on the ice and the performances from each individual player. Ramoli, what did you make of the month of January? And I'm going to ask you this question as well. What are some, and might be hard for you, I'm going to brace yourself. What are some positive differences that you have noticed from last year's playoff collapse, 3-1 series, up 3-1 against the Montreal Canadiens, and then obviously the rest is unfortunate history. What positive difference have you noticed from then to now with this group of Maple Leafs?
That's a good question. I couldn't tell you because I haven't noticed any.
Yeah,
What's changed?
I
Has
agree.
anything changed? Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Tavares are leading this team. Are they going to change? Brody Bradley, it's still a pairing. Muzzin Hall, it's still a pairing. Dermott's still there. Sandin's still there. Jack Campbell is still there. Like it's really hard to say what you know changed, and that's like it's a good question, Mario, because like I know I don't know you're trying to get an answer out of me, but
I,
I
I
don't
think
think
they
you're.
do.
I don't think you're wrong
No,
though.
I don't think they changed, but I think the points that you're making,
what's
I think you're
changed?
missing the fact that the one thing that they lacked, obviously, in the playoffs was discipline. And the one thing that they're lacking continuously is discipline.
So nothing's
Because
changed. Just
no, that's what I'm
like,
saying. But but you're talking about like players. I'm saying in terms of play style, like
oh, the play
discipline.
style.
Like I'm
No,
saying
the
in
play
terms of
style's
play
been the same.
style, like discipline was the issue when they were up 3-1 and couldn't figure out a way to win the last game. And in this case, it's the blowing leads that all has to go back to
Yeah.
discipline and leadership, which it just John Tavares is the captain, but it doesn't seem like based on recent play that there really is a captain in that locker room.
Yep.
I
And
mean,
go on. Go on.
yeah, go.
Jared, you
Yeah,
can go.
Yeah, okay. You
sure,
guys know me.
sure.
I'm gonna find a positive thing.
I know
I
you
think
are.
January has reminded me a lot of the teams of last year where we've lacked discipline. You guys
Well, that's
just
not
heard a
good.
few minutes ago. I gave it to them about their January because like we had a bad month in January, despite what the record says. But looking at not just pinpointing the last week or two, looking at the season as a whole, before the COVID break, there was a lot of things that I was noticing that we were doing significantly better than the years in the past. I think this year we've looked a lot like more like a team that's responsible. We were playing better defensively, I'd say, compared to last year. As well, I found even in their kind of body language and the things they were saying in interviews, where, as I mentioned, last year we were celebrating the fact that, oh, we have such a good record. We're a first place hockey team. I'm not hearing any of that this year because this team has learned after last year that it doesn't matter how good we're doing if we don't kind of stick to our game. And it's something I noticed way back then in the ancient land of 2021. In an interview, I think it might have been Spezza, I forget who exactly said it, but someone basically said when they were asked about what are your thoughts about the Leafs, I think it was after we swept the California road trip, and they basically
Yep.
said it doesn't matter, and they basically shared the mindset of we need to stay strong and we need to keep doing what we're doing because you know what happens if we put our foot off the gas. I haven't liked their month of January. I think it has reminded me a lot of the teams of the past, but without targeting their last few games that have been maturity in this group, I think they are playing more for the most part a better defensive game. Where we had a record earlier where it was like we hadn't blown a lead. Sorry, we had won every single game when we went into the third period with a lead. Of course, that's changed as of this month. But in general, I mean, we definitely are playing more like a mature team as opposed to the past years. And then as much as our playing style maybe isn't crazy different, we have gotten a few good players that have came in. Like I think a player like Camp, who's just a pure responsible face-off winner. Like I think that's something that could prove could prove beneficial in the playoffs. Like I've liked him. Kasha as well is just he works hard every night. I like a lot of what he's bringing. And in general, I don't know. I really like our team, and I think I have noticed at least even off the ice, just in the maturity of the group and the things they're saying. Like I think they honestly, it sounds like they've learned from what happened last year, where regardless of how good of a regular season they had, it doesn't matter if you can't get it done when it matters. And I don't know. I honestly have noticed some maturity in the group. January raised some questions, but I have faith in this group from what they've seen all season long. That I think they'll get out of this, and I think we have what it takes. I really like our group.
It's a hard one to ask. It's a hard question to pose after a stretch of games where it's 8-2 hockey, but it doesn't look like it's 8-2 hockey. And there's so many problems that you can pinpoint on any given night. The maturity, I haven't thought at all in that month of January was there whatsoever. Maturity is dealing with a 3-1 lead and hanging on, and not even hanging on, putting the foot on the neck.
Put a nail in the coffin.
Put a nail in the coffin. That's maturity to me.
I completely agree.
But to Jared, your point, and I know you've been bringing this up, January, that month is not what the season makes. There's 30 games before that as well. I know there's been, and I wish I saw a lot more maturity. And Jared, you bring up the best example that we've seen where they go on that California road trip. That's where I thought, man, if this team sticks that attitude for like 60, 70 more games at that point when it was. These guys are responsible. They're responsible. They could conquer the world if they wanted. They could beat whoever they want. Doesn't matter who they're up against with that attitude. And then things have just so quickly changed. You can point out the main positives of what happened last year compared to this one. Power play, special teams. We don't really talk about it too much, but we talked about it so much last season. And it's just night and day, the difference there. That third line, the third line, I'll turn over to you in just a second. And that third line was, I wouldn't say it's garbage last year. We weren't getting a lot of production, but I feel like we have a guaranteed third line production where we're getting players. You could plug in a guy to maybe grab some confidence on that third line with those two players when healthy, Camp and Kasha, and you'll get it. I love the third line this year, but I think there's a little bit of positives that you can make out, but nothing crazy that I was expecting to see at the beginning of the year. And I know we had a show at the beginning of the year where we were outlining what we had to see and what we wanted to really see from the Leafs. And they're little steps. I think they need to take a little bit more greater steps in the upcoming months. And I'll turn over to you before I get to the other side of the spectrum. But what positive differences have you seen from last year's playoff collapse to this group? And even if you want to throw in some negative ones as well, where we I've
actually seen a lot of positive. Are we doing the green scale, or should I just go straight into? I'll just go into the positives. We'll figure that out later. Positive, I think, is the depth. The third and fourth line, you just mentioned it. I'm going to regurgitate it. I think that was the one issue that the Leafs had, not only in the playoffs, but I think it's appropriate to say throughout the season, it was always just trying to figure out, can that third line score? And it just felt like a lot of times that the Leafs lost, it was because Matthews and Marner weren't able to score, and then the rest of the team was just so discombobulated that it caused them to lose. So I would agree with you. I do think the depth production has definitely stepped up. Michael Bunting, the hometown hero, I would call him. I mean, the way that guy's been playing, he was a little on and off, I would say, in the month of November and December, but definitely picking it up back up again in the new year. A guy like Mikheyev, who we saw on the All or Nothing fighting for a spot, I think he's definitely earned it as a hard-nosed penalty killer. And even a guy like Kerfoot, who was in a part of that Kadri trade. I feel like that trade, I mean, now Kadri's exploding, but for the role that Kerfoot plays on this team, I think it allows the Leafs to also say we won the trade as well, because they needed a depth center that's hard-nosed and can put up points from time to time. But the main point is that he's able to do so much more that doesn't show up on the stat sheet.
Absolutely. And I want to throw it over back to you, Ramon. If you got any, and you usually have the little bit of the negative Nancy takes on the Leafs team from then to now, I'd love to hear them, because it's going to lead pretty nicely into my next point we're about to make about the Toronto Maple Leafs and what they can even work on going forward, because they started off February with a win. How many more wins will they be able to pick up? But what negative things have you noticed from last year's transition to this year?
One thing that I guess, like, if you want me to go negative, so originally I was thinking in January, but over the overall season, I would say special teams have been better. But if we're looking on the more negative side, I think last year, this could be a product of being in the Canadian division, but I feel like last year in the regular season, they would just murder teams, kind of like they did tonight, like with the Devils. I feel like they did that a lot more often, and I'm not really seeing that this year. Like this year feels like most games end up being like a 1 or 2 goal game. And maybe statistically I'm completely off, but just by watching it, most games they seem like they're these 2 goal games where we're either having to, claw our way back into it, or, oh my God, we just blew a 3-1. And then, oh my God, we scored again, 4-4, 5-4 game, So I guess on the negative side, we aren't, killing teams like we did to, I guess, the Canucks a bunch last year, the Sens last year, even the Habs we used to just murder. So.
But does that make you happy or sad about that? And that's a very basic response for me.
Feels like a
happy
therapy
or
session.
sad? No, you know what I'm trying to say. Like,
throw up the like smiley faces, smiley face or sad.
Yeah, I'll
face.
get the emojis running. But what I'm trying to kind of say is, does that make you feel a little bit better about this team, that they're they're not throwing and blowing teams out of the water like they did last year, where we thought everything was going to be terrific in the come playoff time because they blew up so many teams, and obviously it was not the case? Or are these? Do you think? And this is obviously a proposed question. Do you think these little games here and there where they're forced to claw themselves back in, which is a horrible habit to have, but they end up sometimes doing and executing. Is that something you want to see a little bit more, or would you rather go strictly, I want to see you thump these guys every single night? Because we've seen the tale of 2 coins with this Leafs team.
You should be killing the teams that need to be killed.
That's the best
Like,
way to put it.
there's no excuse to score 1 goal on the Arizona Coyotes. Like, none. I don't care if they put prime Carey Price in net. There's no excuse. We can't be giving up 3 unanswered to the Devils. Can't, or 3-1, whatever. I don't know if we lost any other bad teams. I'm sure
There's a
it's
lot
been-
more in
He's
this.
like
Didn't the
trying to-
Blackhawks? Didn't the Blackhawks come
They
back on
came back
us
from 4-1.
Yeah.
4-1?
We were there.
And then
we were watching
fucking I think Comp,
Camper.
scores with like 10 seconds left off one of the luckiest bounces I've ever seen. So I'd say, I'd rather beat a team by 5 than beat a team by 1, because it probably means the team by 5 you killed. So, but that's the big thing. Teams like nights like tonight need to happen more. Like the next time we play the Buffalo Sabres, none of this fucking 5-4 shit where Joseph Woll almost blows the game. Put them out of their misery. They're trying to get Shane Wright. Why are we doing this? So, yeah.
Can I
I'll say
ask a
that.
question? Are you saying
Of
like you
course.
want them to explode on teams that are like supposed to be? Or are you saying like,
Yes.
okay, I was confused for a second there.
Yes, I
was
want them
like,
to shit on the Buffalo Sabres. If they don't beat the
Okay.
Buffalo Sabres 5-0, it's not a good game.
I do think.
I mean,
that's-
I would disagree. I would disagree with you there, just because I think you have to wait and see how that 4-0, even if it's 4-0 or 3-0, if the Leafs force the Buffalo Sabres, let's say, or even the Arizona Coyotes or the Montreal Canadiens to take outside shots and not allow zone entry, then I would think a 3-0 win is even better than a
Hey, but
7-0.
you know what I mean? I mean,
No,
like,
I get what you're saying, but
even
like
3-0, I'll take 3-0. 5-0's a little bit of an
No,
over-exaggeration.
I get what you're saying, but even like I think even if they win like 2 or 3-0, where it's like a close game, but if the way that they're playing is like defensively strong, I would take that over an offense-heavy game.
If you have to play defensively strong against the Arizona Coyotes and
No,
Montreal
but what I'm
Canadiens, that
saying-
speaks a
No,
lot
no,
more to
no,
how you
like-
played.
No, but I'm just saying it builds habits. You know what I mean? Like if they're forcing teams like them to take
That's
outs-
called playing to your opponent's level.
All
Which
right.
I don't know. I
something
think
we try to avoid.
I agree with what
I
Evan's
don't
saying.
know.
I think
I
get
I
a
think
lot
you're-
more like playoff flashes about playing playoff responsible style hockey. I think like we still get those positive things out of a 4-2 game. I don't think
You play
as much as
playoff style hockey against a
Against-
playoff team.
I'm with you
you're
there.
right,
man.
but I
You
just
shouldn't
think
be playing playoff style
constantly we should be
hockey
building
against
those habits. I
Arizona.
don't know. I don't.
You
I
think
shouldn't
you should.
intentionally, but then that means you're intentionally letting them score or coming in to
No,
play
but
hard nosed hockey on them.
it
If you are
doesn't mean
truly
you're-
better, you shit on them. Period. End
I
of
don't know,
discussion.
No, I
like as much as
disagree
from
with
an
you.
entertainment standpoint, I love watching a 7-1 game, but I don't get we're ready for the playoffs because we just beat them 7-1. Like
No, it doesn't.
sometimes-
But isn't it a little concerning if we only beat the Arizona Coyotes 2-1? You don't
I
alarm
get it,
bells go
like,
off that we can't score more
are
than 2?
teams- I don't know. Those are teams we should be shit kicking. I agree with you, but I don't know. Like our team looks a lot more playoff ready in games where we're scoring those in close, gritty goals, and we're playing a smart defensive game, as opposed to just putting defense in the back seat and kind of running up and scoring 8
I
goals.
don't think you could analyze how this team plays playoff style hockey against the Arizona Coyotes.
I'm
If
with
they are
you.
forced into
But-
playing playoff style hockey, there is a bigger problem here.
All right, I
They're
think we
not
should-
good. They're bad.
I think we
There's-
should like
you know?
come to an end on this. I think like one last
Yeah,
thing
agree to
is-
disagree.
Yeah, I agree to
Yeah, I
disagree.
don't
It's
know.
just like the whole thing is just about building habits. I think if you're a playoff team, you play playoff hockey every night and you show that. I agree though that they shouldn't be kind of emphasizing that against teams like Arizona, where their AHL team is up there, the entire team's up there. But I think still, regardless if they have spurts where it's just they looked absolutely dominant, it's all about building habits and getting those guys like Dermott, the younger guys like Dermott and Liljegren, to understand like this is the way that we want to play. And let's say we play Tampa tomorrow, let's emphasize it against Tampa tomorrow. And like they've already built those habits.
I do, yeah, and I'm gonna put a nail in this one.
I think like that's where
yeah.
that's where Jared and I were coming from, is like start somewhere, and if it is against a bad team, then so be it. But there's got to be a point A in order to get to point B.
Definitely, yeah. And I get what you're saying, because I agree. I'm just gonna add one more point. Like, I agree.
Yep.
A game against the Devils that are on a 6-game losing streak, like you shouldn't have to win it by the skin of your teeth. And I'm not saying how we've played in January is the model that we should be playing, where we're constantly having to claw back. I think that's a problem. But more talking about how we played earlier in the year, where we were winning some just boring 4-2 games where we played good defensively. Like, I don't hate that, to be honest. I think if we're constantly scoring playoff-esque goals and are forcing them to shoot from not dangerous chances and are playing a strong defensive game, that isn't the end of the world to me. And I think it shows when the team is playing like shutdown style hockey. Yeah. I really don't hate that. As much as it's more fun watching a 7-1 shit kicking, I don't know. I agree with you.
Can I ask
I
a
agree with
question?
you to an ask.
Yeah.
I just want to say I agree with you to an extent,
Yeah.
but I don't hate it.
Do the Leafs have a better defensive game if they win 2-1 versus 7-1? Does that mean they played better defense?
It doesn't, because I mean we still let them get one goal. But I'm just saying, in a game where we're running 7-1, I mean, we aren't forced to use our defense because we're just allowed to given opportunities to run offensively.
Right.
Yeah, I get what I think we should.
I get what you're
but I get what
I'm not saying.
I think we're both agreeing to disagree.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're an idiot. I get the point you're bringing up.
No, it's exactly what Jared's saying.
Fuck you up, you fucking little shit. I'll fuck you up.
Hey.
But I don't know. I still think I get a little bit of, okay, this team looks ready when we sometimes have just a boring 4-1 game where we kind of hammer the team home and don't give them a lot of opportunity. In that game, you have to kind of use your defense more than in a 7-1 game. So that's more where I guess the defense is tested a little bit more. And when they show up and shut down a team, that's something I get a bit of positive signs from.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm gonna wrap this one up pretty cleanly. The one thing that we're all kind of saying at the same time is that we just want to see different types of winning habits
100%,
rather to bury teams. I'm gonna say it, and I'm not gonna dwindle on this conversation any longer. I side with Romoli here. It's just because I do believe, and it is a first. Connection. The Italian connection is on elite, but I don't want to set up any more arguments. I want to move on to our next one. The only reason why I kind of agree is just because the one thing that the Leafs have struggled with so frequently in the past is hammering the dagger in the coffin, killing teams, killing you, beating you, whatever you want to call it. They don't have that killer instinct. Still, I don't think that was something that was talked about extensively last year, heading into this year. And still, I just need to see games like this against just about any opponent. Maybe even you want to chime in the playoff type of hockey. You're going to have to play that against the playoff type of teams. But when you're facing the guys in the bottom of the standings, you're going to have to get these kind of games like we saw tonight, that 7-1 thumping over the Devils. And I think that's all we're going to say on that. It was a terrific debate nonetheless. And you can always argue two sides of the coin, but move on to this one. This one's a little bit of a funner's on the word, more amusing.
Good host.
Good host.
Exactly. I had to pick myself up there. The more amusing factor of this midway point of the season. I want to get your takes on these. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 categories of Maple Leafs hockey, of any hockey team in general, how you're going to rank them and what you're going to see them do in the future. Note, you will be held accountable for your rankings. This will be revisited at the end of the season. I should
lower these.
Dude, why are you telling me this now?
Yeah, because I want to revisit this.
It says it up there.
It says it. I have it. With the smiley face too.
Read the fine print.
My God, I did not see that until just now.
Yeah, I got the smiley face and little.
You
I didn't know use an emoji on my computer, so I did old school.
You asshole.
But no, you will be held accountable for these rankings, and nothing crazy, but it's just going to be something we look back on. And I love looking back on things, but why don't we look forward to this segment here? So I'm going to let you guys debacle here. The top 6 scoring. Now, how it's going to work, these are different categories. We'll start with the top 6 scoring, if you want to refer to it as the core scoring on this team. You're going to give me a letter. I don't know if you guys all have numbers.
I did letters.
You guys did letters.
I did
Everyone's
letters.
unanimous on the letters.
Yeah, I did letters.
Okay, I thought you'd swing a little bit differently. It's the trend you kind of give me. But no, we'll go letters. Top 6 scoring, core scoring. What do you guys got through 42 games on the season for the Toronto Maple Leafs? Romoli, I'll start with you.
Oh man, gotta pull them up because of course I didn't have them up. So top 6 scoring, you said?
Yes. What do you give them?
A.
Mm-hmm.
We have Austin Matthews, who has 29 goals.
Trash.
William Nylander, point a game. Mitchell Marner now, point a game. John Tavares, point a game. Kerfoot, almost. Bunting, fucking awesome. And almost probably a 60-point guy, maybe 50 points. So it'd be hard to argue against anything lower than an A-.
Yeah, Devin, I mean, I'll start with Jared. Jared, do you got anything to counter that? Are you in the A territory, or are you going to lean to a little more
I
low
am
on
gonna
that one?
counter him actually because I'm gonna go with an A plus. I
Ooh.
really like what I'm seeing out there. I think it's very
course.
clear that the
Of
top guys
course.
that are expected to score are scoring right now. And Mitch Marner, who at the start of the year couldn't put the puck in the back of the net, he's now flying as well. Tavares is doing really good offensively. All the guys you mentioned, I mean, all the top six guys are scoring and doing what they're expected to do and more. They are doing unbelievable right now. And I mean, initially I had an A, but just for the sake of being contrarian, I added
I
that little
like it.
plus next to it,
Nice.
just
Love
for the
it.
sake of, I feel like sometimes I'm too nice on the show. I have to
You don't say.
grill people a little
Oh,
more.
because that isn't buttering them
I
up
like it.
enough.
I like it. I actually had them as an A plus, and then I looked at Marner's first like 26 games and said, maybe not.
Eh.
See,
Oh, he's
yeah,
a-
that's why I gave them an A because I wasn't too high. Like Marner kind of like just exploded ever since he came back from COVID. Like, let's be honest, like before the Roro break, he wasn't all of
What
that.
did
Like
you
we were
just call it?
the Roro.
Give me some context.
But like before that, like he wasn't really noticeable offensively. I mean, there were just a lot of games where I would forget that he was on the team just because he wasn't making as much noise as I would have liked to. And maybe that could also just been where he was placed on the power play when they were on the special teams. Because then once he started going, as Adamo was pointing out, I remember like going behind the net, allowing guys like Matthews and Nylander to absolutely snipe it. Then he started really performing. So I'm going to do an A for now, just because based on the first couple of games, the first like quarter of the season for Marner wasn't great. In terms of the depth production, I'm going to go A on that as well. I wouldn't say A plus because I don't think it's that. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's an A plus yet. I wouldn't consider it the most lethal bottom six, but I definitely think it's within the top five. Uh, they've been great. Guys like Bunting, who signed a 1-year deal, I definitely think the Leafs need to keep him. I mean, if they lose him, that's just going to be a brutal loss. I'm looking at Bunting probably getting maybe like a 3-year, maybe $3 million deal, $3.5 million
We have him for
deal.
2 years. Don't you worry. This year,
Oh,
next.
That's the beauty of Kyle Dubas learning from his mistakes.
oh wait, they
Giving up some
signed him. I thought.
two-year
He
Wait,
deals.
I
got
thought he
term,
signed a
baby.
1-year
Nope.
900.
2 years, 900.
2 years, 900.
Fucking steal. I know.
Why
Doobie doobie doo.
Dude, I thought it was 1-year 900. Oh my god! Never mind. Congratulations, Kyle Dubas.
Yeah, take a bow, Kyle.
Take
Hold
a
on,
bow,
glasses
Kyle.
boy.
Yeah, yeah. The
Spreadsheet
special.
nerd.
Yeah, I think for
Poor
special
Hold on,
teams,
hold it,
like,
hold it, hold it, hold it,
oh,
hold it.
are we?
hold it,
Oh, are
hold
we
it,
only
hold it.
stopping there? Sorry, my
Yeah,
bad. I
I
went too
thought
far.
so.
I
Went
got
too far. My bad.
No, yeah, we'll shine some light to some other.
I
I
apologize.
thought we were
My
going like that, right?
I
Yeah,
apologize. I
we're
went too
doing it.
far.
I'll turn it over to you guys for every segment.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Calm down. I'll go back to Damo here. What do you got for the depth production? Guys like at almost everything and everybody that Evan was saying. What do you got with the depth? We got that third line that I was mentioning earlier in the show, and that fourth line who you were. Let me give this one a bit. You were ripping on him. That
I
fourth
was.
line. I
My
went
grade's
back.
gonna reflect it.
I
Yeah.
went back last
Yeah.
week's video looking if I wanted to just make sure because Jason Spezza went off the bean and was potting goals left, right, and center. So I had to see who was disagreeing a little bit. And
Well, he finally scored a goal in a win.
to no surprise.
Twice.
2 in a row.
Fuck.
But no, what do you got for the depth?
I give him a B plus because the plus comes from Mikheyev because God, he's perfect. I don't know. They've been great. Sorry, they've been good, not great. I think the fourth line production has been like pretty good. I think the past couple games you really see how useful Engvall is to the fourth line, and I gotta say that's a guy I was 100% wrong on because as much as I don't like his decision-making skills, that bottom six needs his ability to take the puck in his defensive zone and transition it into the offensive zone by himself, especially playing with two not as fleet of foot guys in Spezza and Simmons. Even if it leads to like a, pick it up, shot on net into the glove and boom, you get your first liners out there. He's been really good at that. If we could take the stupid drop passes out, that'd be nice. But yeah, B plus. Am I missing anyone? Oh, Comp's been good. His production isn't great, but that's not what you get him for. He even scored tonight. So good on him. Mikheyev, Richie. Like that's a failed experiment. So
can I ask,
that keeps me from giving it an
can I
A.
ask this question? Was Richie on the ice tonight?
No.
He didn't play.
He didn't
He was
play. Okay,
scratched.
thank God. I no, 'cause I
Last
didn't
2
know.
games he's been.
I didn't know, and I thank God because I did not see him, and I was hoping he was scratched just for
I
my
forgot he
sanity.
was part of the Leafs this last week. Honestly, like he's
Yeah,
just
he's not
2.5
playing.
of dead cap. Like
It,
that
it
was
it truly is, and that's a conversation
yeah.
for like the whole podcast conversation we can have. But
Yeah.
no, he's been brutal for sure.
Yep.
But I'll turn over to you, Jared. What do you got for the team depth? Adamo gives him a B plus. Evan goes as hopes to give it an A minus. Do you have anything contemplating countering this one?
I mean, I wish I could do one smack dab in the middle. I ended up going with the B plus, but I was teetering between A minus and B plus. Like, I don't think you could go wrong with either of those. I think it's been good. Individual guys have been great on it. Individual guys also haven't been great on the bottom six. So it's done its job. I mean, it's the bottom six. It's not expected to have your team leader in points. It's done its job. It's done very well. And yeah, I've liked what I've seen. Individual guys such as Mikheyev recently have really picked it up. Spezza went a while there without scoring, but I mean, 2 goals in the last 2 games, I'll take it. And he's just always, even when he isn't scoring, he's a veteran presence. That's what he's there for. He's the guy that's been in the league for a million years, and I'm never going to be mad having Jason Spezza out there on the ice. As I mentioned earlier, talking about guys I'm excited to see in the playoffs, I really like what David Kemp has brought. And that's, I think, the biggest offseason move that I questioned from Kyle Dubas. And no, he's proved me wrong. I think it's something valuable that we haven't really seen before. Just a consistent guy that sure there's no offensive upside, but it's just always someone you could rely on to win the face-off and kind of just always be there and passing the puck and just keep the puck into the offensive zone when he's there. Like he's just a good guy. I like him. And in general, I think everyone's done really well on that bottom six. Kasha as well, I really like.
What about him?
And no
Oh
really.
my God, I forgot about him.
Yeah, no real reason to criticize them. It was a question of A minus, B plus, because again, it's been good in school. That's your 75, 80-ish%, but it's not quite elite. It's not quite in the A category, but it's just below because it's done everything it's needed to do, and it's getting the job done absolutely.
100%. And I think that's the whole thing we're all going to say on this depth production. But why don't we look at the special teams unit as well? I mentioned them off the top of the show as well. They were very big improvement from last season to this season. What do you guys make of it? I know they rank pretty high in the league. So the NHL stat category is doing quite numerous favors for our rankings. But where do you guys see the rankings? Evan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm confused about this. So I wanted to ask you, are we rating the special teams as the first line unit and the second line unit, or just
so special teams
The
in
Leafs
my
when they're not at 5-on-5.
Okay, I didn't know if you're also just assessing, giving a ranking to their first and second line as well. The Leafs special teams has been an A. I mean, I really like it. I mean, they probably, I would put them up with Colorado as just, you could throw out 5 of the most disgusting players. And in terms of just name value as well, they're just, it's great. The one thing that I've actually thought is a positive that I forgot to bring up earlier is that we noticed last season the regression tremendously of the power play. From the start, I believe, of November to April, it was just going down and down and down, and by immense numbers. Nothing that it was going from 33% to 30 by the end of the year. It was going from 33% to 6. And the one thing that I just noticed is consistency with that. And that's just the one thing you really need, especially heading into playoffs and just getting extra points. Sometimes it's your special teams that could kill you, and sometimes it's your special teams that can absolutely secure you the win. I think it was the Leafs had, what game was it? They won 3-1, and all 3 of their goals were power play. Something like that. I'm trying to remember.
A couple of days ago.
Islanders.
Islanders.
There you go.
Yeah, the Islanders game that they almost blew. Thank you.
Yeah.
Their first 3 goals were all scored on the power play, and maybe 5 on.
It was Anaheim. Because it was the first game with the new
first game with the lines. Yeah.
Okay.
It was Anaheim, actually.
I couldn't remember what it was, but I just remember one of the games, first 3 goals were all on the power play. And although that might not be intriguing, I mean, when you're in a dog race like the Leafs are in, special teams play such a big role for you, and I really like it.
And if you look at the guys ahead of them in the Atlantic Division, all those teams have name value of star players on the power play, and they get it done night in, night out. It truly does make or break your team in the Atlantic. So totally fair with the rankings. Adamo, what about you? Do you got them so high as an A? Do you go and surpass them with the A? Or are you going to hit a little bit lower than the rankings that Evan has given?
A plus. first in power play, third in PK.
League
Can't
rankings
argue
speak
against
for
that.
themselves,
Crap, I
man.
forgot about penalty kill. I kind of just gasped the whole.
That's usually what special teams
counting.
also refers to.
I
Yes.
completely forgot about. No, their penalty kill has been great, and even tonight against New Jersey, I mean, I was telling Jared it felt like they were on the power play, even on the
Yeah.
penalty kill. Like that
That's
penalty,
one thing. Go.
and that's what makes. I was going to say I think that's what makes Marner also so valuable, especially now. It's like you rarely see a top player be able to dominate penalty kill, and
Yeah.
Mitch Marner just has that specialty where, although he weighs like $120, he plays like he's 220. So kudos to him. I always remember the time that he blocked those 2 shots against like Boston or something, where he just absolutely broke his leg and did not give a fuck.
Yeah. What I want to say on the penalty kill was I like how they've kind of adopted Carolina's model that I've been such a fan of, where they actually, flip the Uno reverse card and say penalty kill. Okay, this is offense. They call it the power kill over there. And it's basically so teams are playing like a 1-3-1 with one guy on the point. If you rush 2, loose puck 2-on-1, you score. And that's why you see Carolina's always ranking towards the top of shorthanded goals. And lo and behold, the Leafs are second in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we saw it tonight too. Shorthanded goal. Was it a shorthanded goal for Mitch Marner? Was it short? Who scored the shorthanded goal tonight against the Devils?
Did we score a shorthanded goal?
Did we
I don't think we scored him tonight. It was the
we
game
scored
winner in
last
the last
night.
game was Mikheyev. Who
There we go.
Last night was
So
Mikheyev.
I'm getting these ones mixed up. But
Again,
again,
Severson, great defensive play.
great. But
he's gonna be a Leaf, guys. Watch your tone.
I don't want to see that.
It's gonna happen.
We'll trade him for smoked poutine and
Hey.
Or that might be too valuable, actually.
The big one too.
The big one.
No, but the 2 units have been very important for the Maple Leafs and their success this season. Jared, where do you rank the special teams for both the power play and the penalty kill as well?
I'm hammering with the A+. I mean, yeah, they're currently the only team that has an above 30% power play, which, I mean, halfway through the season, having a 30.5% power play percentage is unbelievable. And they've just been so dangerous every time they get on it. And as well, their PK has been super strong. And as Adamo mentioned, it's not only that it's been able to kill off penalties, even though it has done very good on that too. It's sometimes found offense, and when they've seen the opportunities, they've bid on those chances, and they've rushed up on the PK and actually scored some shorthanded goals. So I've loved what I've seen there. And in general, yeah, I mean, being first place in first place in power play percentage, third place in PK, it's hard not to give them that A or A+. They've been unbelievable so far there.
And I'm going to turn it over to you, Ramoli. I had Evan on the loop there, but he's a little bit busy with these technical issues. What do you make of this one, where I think the defense has been kind of a roller coaster this entire season? Team defense with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm sure the rankings aren't going to be as high as the A and the A+, but where do you see this team fitting on your ranking scale with the Toronto Maple Leafs, both on the defensive side of things with the defenders and even the offense, because they play a big role in defending the games as well?
I gave them a B, like a solid B. They're 6th in goals against per game, so they got to be doing something, right? Whether that is relying on what is now an average goalkeeper. So, I like they've been pretty average. Austin Matthews has had I'm not going to call it Selke level season. I hate when people throw up the RAPM chart and they see a lot of blue and have no context behind it. Matthews isn't winning the Selke this year and probably shouldn't, in my opinion. I always believe that a guy who wins the Selke should probably be on the penalty kill as well, because, logic.
You got some Matthews winning the Selke.
Yeah, no, he has had a great defensive season, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's Selke level, especially the last couple games have been shocking, but that's not what we pay him to do. And he's not the only person on the team. In terms of our actual defense, they've been decent. Morgan Riley and TJ Brody have really brought it back. They had a rough start to the year. Same a little bit low key. Justin Hall's kind of brought it back. He hasn't been noticeably awful. which is fine. I don't need you to be noticeably good. Just don't be noticeably dog shit like you were the first 20 games.
You know.
It's true.
No, you're not wrong.
I'm gonna give kudos to my guy Travis Dermott. He's been thrown into every friggin' role, and he's maybe not succeeded at all of them, but he's given his darnest. So he's gonna get he gets kudos. I'm kind of like listing off defense here. Liljegren, I'm not sure I want to see him in the playoffs. He's been fine for the regular season, but I'm getting Jake Gardner vibes, which I don't like Jake Gardner vibes when thinking of the playoffs. And Sandin's been cool. So B.
The B stays there. Evan, I'll throw it over to you and then I'll hit Jared up there. Where do you got with the team defense? What ranking?
Yeah, for sure. In terms of team defense, I agree with what Adamo was saying, how I felt like guys like Brody and Hall were just very much a liability. And I just remember games where, I mean, they were helping out Campbell so much that they were giving him goals to fucking put in the back of his own net. Like, they were just horrible. And it was almost like the reason why they were losing games. And now you look at them, I just even remember watching the first period because the game got boring after that. But TJ Brody made a lot of great defensive stops. My apologies. Just batting, like making it difficult for I can't remember who it was, but just making it difficult on the forwards to get even a shot on goal. And that's what you want. I just remember seeing that last year consistently from TJ Brody. I remember him taking the body just to even block a pass or just whatever it was, just to make Campbell's life easier. In terms of grade, I'll give them a B as well. I think that's a fair grade, just given the poor start, but then the response level so far. I hope it stays consistent because if it does, if the defense matches the offense, the team's going to be really good.
Yep. And Jared, your last one here. What do you got for the team defense?
We went 3 for 3. I also gave them a B, and I think you guys pretty much nailed everything. They've been good, but it's individual pairs that have been good, and there's also been individual pairs who have been noticeably bad. As you mentioned, Hall has picked it up a little bit, but still, if I'm talking about the season as a whole, I'm still considering Hall as not having a good defensive season and really bringing down that ranking because he just straight up hasn't been good, and I have some question marks that Muzzin Hall pairing come playoff time. As much as Muzzin isn't currently playing right now, he is injured, but in general, I just don't think that pairing has been good enough. Overall, our D, though, it's been fine. Riley and Brody have absolutely been doing everything they're expected to do and more. Riley's playing well defensively and doing great offensively because that's what he is. I guess I'd call him an offensive defenseman. Whereas TJ Brody, there's pretty much no offensive upside, but he's doing everything he needs to do defensively, constantly stopping people who have chances. I don't even know how to describe that, but he's just always so quick to just dive and throw out his body and look like a goaltender out there and swing his stick, and he just makes some crazy stops defensively. He's a great player to have on his team. I'd say I'd give Kyle Dubas the nod for saying that's probably one of the best additions he's made to the team in his tenure as GM. What a crucial defenseman we need, just a pure defensive guy, and I love a guy like TJ Brody. But in general, yeah, I mean, you also look at PK where we've just been able to shut down teams. Like, I guess that I'd give him a little bit of a nod, like that I'd consider somewhat to do with how we've shut down guys defensively. And in general, for most of the season, not including January, I've liked how we've played defensively as a whole. And I think if I'm considering the same way, whereas Hall's been good recently, but I'm still considering him to have a shitty season, I believe I'm not letting this little shitty stretch kind of blur my vision of the whole season because I've liked how we've played defensively. And I think we have improved defensively this season despite our recent blunder that we really need to pick our shit up and get out of. So overall, I've liked this defensively, and I'm giving them the B because they haven't been perfect, but they haven't been bad either. B is pretty easy. That 75%, it's easy.
Well put, and B unanimous. I did not think that was going to happen. I thought we were going to get some zigzag marks here and there, but it is nice to see the B. That is a good thing to see from a team that's trying to contend for a Stanley Cup. This one is where I'm thinking, and I would actually really hope that I see a couple different levels of different answers from you guys. and this is on a scale of 1 to 10. So moving away from the grade scale, the traditional A to Z or A to F, whatever it is, the 1 to 10, the classic 1 to 10, or you could even maybe transition it to a grade scale if you wanted to. Confidence in the Toronto Maple Leafs as of Tuesday, February 1st at 11:10 p.m. I'm being quite exact with this one. Adamo, I am starting with you on a scale of 1 to 10. Where does your confidence rank when you factor in all these different kind of things, what we've seen through 42 games on the year? How confident are you that the next 42 and then some is going to be that much improved, or are we in for some tough sledding?
So after I heard that I was being held accountable, I was thinking of switching my grade, but I'm not, and I won't. I'm going to give the Leafs we'll come back after the break. I'm giving them a 6. I think that's conservative because they haven't shown me anything, spectacular compared to last year that would suggest we're going to see different results. But then again, they were a knee to the face away from making it probably to the conference finals last year. So, with all things considered, like I genuinely don't see that big of an improvement from last year, like throughout the whole season. I guess the special teams have been a lot better, but we know playoffs, special teams, don't happen. So, yeah, 6.
Jared, what about you? Confidence in the team right now? You're usually a confident guy with this group. During the next stretch of 40, 41 games or so, I think it's at 40 now. Where is your confidence lying on the Toronto Maple Leafs team? Is it enough to maybe seeing them get it done when it matters?
Okay, I'm just going to say that going back to my grade scale, my rankings were A+, A+, B+, B. But my rankings and my confidence in the team, it tells you everything you need to know about the Toronto Maple Leafs, where I'm giving them all that praise and I'm still putting them at a 7 in my confidence in the team because
that's what I gave
that's just what this team has shown come playoff time. You could talk to a non-hockey fan, you need to tell them everything about the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's what you tell them. They do all this great, all this great, all this great, and I'm still only 7 out of 10 in terms of confidence in the team because it's hard to be so confident in them when they have constantly let you down. I think they are capable. They have all the talent, all the skill, but it's that little pink jiggly thing in their head that sometimes makes me concerned come playoff time, where they do great, but then all of a sudden elimination's on the line and they can't get the job done. So I have confidence in the team in the sense that the way we've played is really good, and I think the rest of the regular season we will be really good again. But also a factor of who they will have to play in the Atlantic Division. It's going to be tough to bet on them as a favorite because they are likely, if things continue trending the way they are, they're probably going to end up matching against the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Florida Panthers. And Florida, I think I have a little bit more confidence, but a team like Tampa, it's hard to pick the Toronto Maple Leafs in your bracket challenge there because that is a tough matchup. They're going to end up having to face a tough team no matter who it is in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be a war. And the Leafs have not shown up in come playoff time in the past decade. I think they're capable of it, but am I ready to give them a 9 or 10 on my confidence? No. And that's coming from, I like to consider myself to be a very positive Leafs fan, but I just can't with what they've shown me in the playoffs.
Finally, Evan, the man, you said 7 is your ranking. Could you give some context behind it to wrap up this midway season ranking of the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jared kind of just took my points where it's I feel like if this team had success come playoff time, my assessment would probably be a 9. And actually, no, it'd still be a 7 because the way that they're winning games just isn't encouraging to me at all. I get the 8-2-1. I get, every point matters, especially in a tight-knit division that they're in. But if I were to, I would do the 7 just because it's the way that they're winning and how they're winning. It's not sustainable in April. And if they're going to have to play a team like a Tampa Bay, I would say Florida, but I can't really give them much respect right now. But even a team like New York, we're forgetting how many, and even a team like Pittsburgh, I know they've been struggling a little bit as of late, but Mike Sullivan, I never doubt him. I never bet against Mike Sullivan in the playoffs. He's just the way he coaches his team. He gets the best. I mean, he gets the best out of Evan Rodriguez, who was written off in Buffalo, who was undrafted. It's it's tough for where they're at right now. I would give them the 7.
Yep, and fair statements all across the board. And remember, you will be accountable with the results. We will be revisiting these. If the
way
Leafs
you're
so happen,
saying this is like,
yeah, it's a little.
is like if you're wrong, get fucked, babe. Like,
Yeah, we're going to be having tryouts in a couple of months with these rankings. If you get them right, you stay. If not,
Leafs legend.
there's a door behind you can walk straight out of. But no, the rankings, they mean not too much at the midpoint of the regular season, but they're going to mean a whole lot differently once we get closer to the important part of the year. And I think that's all we're going to be talking about for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Great hour and change of a talk about this team. So much to get into, and there's so much other stuff to get into. There's some NHL news. If you tune in for the NHL news, you're at the exact point where we get into it. And why not start with the Arizona Coyotes of all teams? The Coyotes, they've had their problems in regards to arena plans all season long, but recently signs have looked promising and things getting a little bit resolved. News broke last week, and I don't know who broke it. I just remember reading it, that the Arizona Coyotes are close to finalizing a deal that will allow them to play out of the Arizona State Sun Devils arena, which as they await their approval to build and start constructing an arena in, I believe, Arizona. Tempe, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, if that's what it's
I'm not American.
How big is Tempe? You're Tempe.
Tempe.
How do you spell
it's
it?
like a Tempe.
Tempe.
I think it's Tempe.
Arizona. It is. Oh my
It's
God! It
Tempe.
is half the size of Vaughan.
My God.
Yeah, Tempe's it's like a suburb of
187,000
Phoenix.
Oh yeah,
it's like a
gorgeous,
suburb of
but, like,
Phoenix. It's
wow.
so nice.
Wow,
Trust me,
187K.
No, I mean, you'll get into it, but I've had the privilege of seeing that ASU arena, and it's
Oh, it's a new one. There's a new one.
This is a new one coming up.
Oh, this is the new one. Oh, I
Yeah.
played in the old one.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
nice. Yeah.
But no, you guys mentioned
No big deal.
the small size of
College
Tempe
setting.
or whatever you want to call it, small city or whatever. Half the size of Vaughan is really throwing me off
Saying
for a
something.
loop. But if you want to talk about something even smaller, there are only like 5,000 people in the arena at ASU. That's there's been comments made from players around the league, most notably. I believe it was the
Brad
Rat King
Marchand.
himself. Brad
He's so
Marchand
right.
made some. He is. You can't argue. He's not wrong. It's like a buddy of ours asked me, "What are your Super Bowl predictions?" And I said, "Oh yeah, Bengals Rams. That's my Super Bowl prediction." And I'm not wrong. It's just that wasn't really the answer he was looking for. But no, let's get into
Go
it right
Rams,
now.
baby.
Arizona is playing out of ASU. What are your thoughts on this potential move that is very close to coming to fruition? And are the Arizona Coyotes at this point now scraping the bottom of the barrel in what a franchise is able to get with? Because I don't think I'm ever going to see in my life another NHL franchise playing in 5,000 seats of a college arena. Jared, I'll start with you. I'll work my way around the horn. How bad is this on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst?
It's got to be a 10 out of 10. This is so embarrassing for the franchise. Like, could you imagine, like, what if they just paid their payments at Gila River? Then they wouldn't have lost their, like, ability to play there as their home arena, and things would have been okay. It's embarrassing that this is what their franchise may have to do. They have to play in front of some people, but playing in front of 5,000 people, like, really, this is the arena Austin Matthews is leaving Toronto to go play in. Like, it's just embarrassing. It's really, I don't like it at all. I get it. They have to do something, and if this is the only thing available to them, then fine. They may have to do it, but what an embarrassment of a franchise. Move them already. Like, at this point, the experiment in Arizona has not worked. And I get it. Gary Bettman's whole thing is, once the team finds success, they'll find fans. We're still waiting for that success because it just hasn't came yet. And that is such, like, how do you get to the situation where I believe their AHL affiliate plays in an arena with more seats than the Arizona Coyotes do in Tuscan. So it's ridiculous. And if it ends up happening, then I am sorry. They deserve every bit of criticism and memeing and whatever they're going to get. They deserve all of it. This is their fault. They had payments. They didn't pay their payments. Then Gila River, rightfully so, said, okay, if you're not going to pay us, get the fuck out of here. You lose your lease for next year, and then you aren't playing with us, which understandably they don't want a client that isn't going to pay them. And what do you know? They now are basically the embodiment of a homeless team that's trying to find and scraping at the bottom of the barrel to find a place to play. And the fact that they may have to play at a university arena that sure, it's going to get some
a nice
upgrades, but
arena.
it's
it's beautiful.
a nice arena. It's going to get upgrades, so it's going to look even nicer. But an arena with 5,000 fans there, I'm sorry, you're not an NHL franchise. You guys are a joke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you want to add on, Evan?
Yeah, I was just gonna like kind of I when Jared was talking about the memeing, I don't think it's appropriate given the situation, just because the GM that's in there right now is obviously a new GM, and I feel bad. I think he's like the very first like Hispanic background like GM in the NHL history, and I just feel bad that this is the position he was put in, because it's an incredible accomplishment for him, but he was just put in a situation that didn't allow him to succeed at all. If they stupidly let him go, I hope he gets another job and gets another like a real chance, because when you become a GM, you definitely earned it, and I just feel like he earns it, and he just didn't get what he deserved. It's a mess. I mean, I've had the privilege of going to a game at Gila River Arena, and the vibe around it, it's literally next to a movie theater, guys. Like, it is next to a shopping mall. Like, I'm just putting, I understand like Scotiabank is surrounded beautiful downtown Toronto, but it's just the atmosphere that Scotiabank's that surrounded itself with allows it to be so inviting. Gila River is like in the middle of nowhere. You got to drive about 30 to 35 minutes. The TVs inside are the box TVs. I mean, it's awful. And to think that this team, not like a decade ago, was 2 wins away from the Stanley Cup, and you just see the turnaround now. It's just like it could not have gone any worse. And I think it's an embarrassment to the league that Gary Bettman hasn't. I feel like Gary Bettman needs to be fired, because the fact that you're even allowing this, as much as it's the Coyotes' fault, it's Gary Bettman's fault. Like, you need to find something. You can't, like, you're supposed to be the parent of all these 32 teams, and right now you're treating the Coyotes as the stepson that you didn't want, but you somehow ended up with. Like, they needed to find something a while ago. It's unfortunate I think the Coyotes need to sell the team, because obviously the owners just can't make payments. They're a joke franchise, even when it comes to the whole drafting issues of the fourth round pick that ended up being like a prick in high school. Like, it just didn't help their name at all. It didn't help their brand, and I'm certain it definitely caused a bunch of season ticket holders, whoever was left, just to say, like, why am I even throwing away? Like, I'd have more fun burning the money than like actually going to the games.
And it's interesting that you say, when you bring up the fact that like Gary Bettman, he's the parent of all these teams, and he's treating this 32nd team, or whatever you want to call it, this terrible franchise, the Arizona Coyotes, as like a stepson. He was preaching very heavily in the early decades about that he wanted Arizona. He wanted them on their list. He was very advocate, and you can see it now. He doesn't want to give away that baby in Arizona. He wants to try and keep it alive. It's on life support as we speak. I feel like this arena is kind of like a life raft that they're throwing and saying, this is the last resort. We need this. If not, it's going to get squirrely pretty fast. Jerry, you want to add on?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to quickly say, like, to Evan's point, I'm not blaming it on an individual person of, oh, their GM. I get it. It's a young guy and he was just put in the situation. I'm absolutely not blaming him. It's on the ownership. It's on the guys that actually own the franchise in that. And I agree with you. The GM was put in a very unfortunate situation, because I believe hockey-wise, at least, I think he could be a good GM and could be a guy. I mean, he completely committed to a rebuild, so good on him. He addressed that this team is not good enough. He blew it all up, and hopefully a few years down the line, at least hockey-wise, he can build a good team. It's not me blaming him. It's that ownership that just made some terrible decisions in running this team, and it's a mess down there. And that's more what I'm saying deserves a meeting. I'm not saying go out and bully this new GM in his first off.
Yeah, that's what I was countering.
So
that
that's what
argument.
I just had to say, because when you said that, I'm like, hey, I don't want to make it sound like that's my
no.
point.
I'm just hoping that I'm just hoping the memes that come out, I hope that none of them are revolving around this GM. Just given the situation, it's like you're getting thrown into a fire and you're trying to figure out how to like unburn yourself without any water.
I completely agree. He was put in a terrible situation, and those owners need to do something. like that. It's an embarrassment to the NHL, and I agree with what you're saying. It's literally, it shows that it's Gary Bettman's like, he wants Arizona to work no matter what, and it's not working. But he still is like, no. If they get some wins, the fans will come. I'm sorry, if you're running a team this way and this is the team you want in your NHL, then there's a problem. That team, the way it's running with their ownership, like it's just an absolute mess down there, and it's an embarrassment on the NHL. It genuinely makes the NHL look like a joke.
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
And Romoli, I'm finally going to get your thoughts on the Arizona Coyotes. I kept you here. No, it's you guys are all bringing up the exact points that are sort of resonating with me. The owners, it's the big problem there. Nothing on the GM, nothing on the really players because they got nothing to do. Nothing on the fans because there's no funding to put into that arena. You mentioned, Evan, the arena is next to a movie theater. Why not just go watch a movie?
Could be
better time.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I just remember seeing a lot of people pulling up to park, and it wasn't going to the left side of
I'm willing to
River.
bet that the movie theater was more expensive than Coyotes tickets.
Yeah. Go into your point. What do you think of this? Is this the bottom of the barrel, the bottom of what a franchise can and cannot do in hockey?
You guys have all been to the Miami Athletic Center, right?
Just went there today to work.
I love it.
A big deal.
The boy. You guys aren't gonna like what I'm about to say.
Oh no.
Does the MAC hold more seats?
Almost. The Miami Athletic Center, our university's home arena in downtown Toronto, aka the old Maple Leaf Gardens
yes,
upper deck. It holds 3,850 people. That means, what is it, 1,150 less than what a professional NHL team is about to have? For more context, the arena down the street from us, I think it's Young? I forget the street.
Carlton.
No, not that one.
Moss?
I'm gonna say Varsity Arena. Varsity Arena is almost the size of it. Varsity Arena holds 1,116 people.
It's a barn.
That's a joke.
It's a barn. It's a shit show. It's embarrassing. This is the National Hockey League, the best hockey league in the world. There are ECHL teams with bigger arenas. There are junior A teams with bigger arenas. There's probably junior B teams with bigger arenas. How could this happen? Like actually, and they'd have to, because of NCAA rules, they have to build a new dressing room, new facilities.
Oh crap!
What the fuck? You're going to a state-funded university, because that's what state means. Fun fact. At the end of a university. What the hell? How is this allowed? Is it allowed? It can't be allowed. It can't be allowed.
It is allowed, unfortunately. But
like, imagine the World Cup. I pray to God it doesn't. Imagine the World Cup when it comes to Canada.
Soccer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine it. Mario will understand this. Imagine it goes to Tim Hortons Field.
We were talking about that last night. It is a ridiculous venue where
there's literally
like
it's just a normal ass neighborhood over there. That's what the equivalent of this is. The World Cup is played in stadiums of like 60 to 80,000. I think Tim Hortons is at like 30,000.
Yeah,
and it's like half empty on the sides. It's a shit show. So that would be my equivalent. There's no way you could make a take that says no, this is good. It's bad. Sure. It's embarrassing to the league.
The only positive is that there's a crap load of bars by ASU. So if it's really down bad that they could just go to the games hammered.
They will sell out. They're gonna get I hope they sell out, because there's gonna be a bunch of college kids down there. Say, fuck it, we all live here. Let's go, catch a Sun Devils game,
NHL game,
and then let's go catch a Coyotes game in the same arena. So
we could just hold back a little.
What pains me the most, that the ASU hockey prior to Arizona getting set to play will be much funner again with the word funner, much more entertaining. Two times, man, Jesus, it'll be much more entertaining than this Coyotes team. They're not going to be good for a while. Ownership will not fund them for a while, and they are not going to have an NHL arena to play in for quite a while because construction plans have not been arranged just yet. That does it for Arizona, and we'll be talking about with them. We'll go to this story. This is a much more serious topic. Oh Jesus. Much more serious topic on the agenda here. Evander Kane, he is now an Edmonton Oiler. a couple months ago, he was on probably the no team hire list because no team wanted to bring that kind of baggage. But Ken Holland and the Edmonton Oilers, that second chance that the Oilers GM was referring to comes to fruition. And he took a shot in the dark that may very well assist them. And I don't like to put it this way, and I don't like to word this, but I'm going to say it because that's what Oilers fans are trying to look at towards. They're trying to nurse their depth. They've had a depth problem forever. They're thinking on a hockey standpoint that Evander Kane maybe will solve that. Might I mention he is also I believe a 6-time 20-30 goal scorer in his career. So he can get it done on the goal scoring side of things. But on the other side of things, where a lot of fans, including myself, are looking a little more skeptical in is all the news coming following the NHL's investigation into Kane's actions at the Canadian border. No conclusive evidence was found following the NHL's investigation to charge Kane with a illegal attempt to cross the border. There was so many noise aside from that going around prior to that investigation. There was stuff with his wife. I don't want to get into that stuff. That's just silly. It isn't. We don't even have to. Everyone knows it. We don't have to touch upon it. But on top of the recent controversy, he's dealt with the numerous accusations and suspensions, making the signing all the more questionable for Ken Holland's behalf. He was signed, if you guys do not know, and I made sure of this off the top of the show, 1 year, $1.3 million for the year, with a no movement clause, which is extremely captivating at best.
I mean, it makes it. But can I just ask you guys?
Yeah.
Why would they move him though? Like, if they're already signing him this
Who's
late into
to say
the year,
he doesn't throw a snowball at an old lady?
But it doesn't matter though, because then they could. If he does, then no. But I'm just saying, like, the no move doesn't surprise me because it's not like even if he does well, a team's not going to be like, oh, let's get him. Like, I just because Edmonton
but
then just
as like a PR move would be send him to the minors, and you can't do that with a full no move.
Yeah, he's got a full one.
Here's the thing: if it gets to the point of minors, and you got to buy the contract out at that point. Like,
true.
I get the whole no move because it's like it's plan A, and if it's not plan A, it's adios. Like
sink or swim.
Like they're really. I had no problem with the no move. I had a problem with the signing, right? But once you signed him, like. Guys, like Mary, I'm sorry for interrupting again, but do we not think that this situation? Remember, who was it? Crap. Oh my God. Brendan Leipzig. I'm remembering.
Yes.
Do we not think that his situation? He was making fun. He basically just, for context, he was like making fun of Tanner Pearson's wife, like. Calling her overweight and just a bunch of other names and just shit, like, do we not think that his situation, like, he's out of the NHL, he's in Russia right now in Seska, I believe. Do we not think that this situation with Evander Kane in terms of faking a vaccine card, possible domestic violence issues, like, do we not think that this falls in the same tier, if not a tier below? And yet Evander Kane was offered another deal. And
do you want to hear why?
Why?
Because he scores goals and plays good hockey. It's horrible.
That's the issue.
I don't agree with it, but that's you
can score your way out of being a shit person.
That's what's terrible about it. It's
like if Brendan Leipzig was a 40-goal guy, he's not going to Russia. Come on, he'd still be here. And I think that's the issue with the culture around the sport. Then again, I don't think Evander Kane has technically been proven guilty of any crimes.
Yeah, that's
which
situation.
The vaccine card right away. The vaccine card
Greenwood
right away
at the moment. I know it's a completely different situation, but like, technically he's been proven of nothing, so you can't say nothing.
The vaccine card right away should have already
for sure.
Because that affects protocols. Because
that endangers people.
Yeah, that
GM is probably in his 70s. He's in his 70s. Ken Holland? No way that guy's not in his 70s.
No. I'm talking about Doug Wilson. I'm talking about Doug Wilson when he was in San Jose.
Shit. Yeah, Doug Wilson.
I'm talking about Wilson in San Jose, and I'm talking about the coaches that are in San Jose, bro. Because it's all about the protocols. Because if they assumed that Evander Kane, let's say he was still vaccinated, and now they're saying if you're double vaxxed, you don't need to get tested. What if he then tests positive for COVID and he doesn't have the vaccine? Like I'm going sidetracked here, but Stephen A. Smith, sports commentator, First Take on ESPN, he had COVID, and it got really bad that he had pneumonia in both his lungs. And the doctor said if you didn't have the vaccine, you probably wouldn't be like standing here today.
Could
Like
have died. Yeah,
he probably could have died. And
that's the
it's
issue
also
I
just
have
for
with
Evander
Evander Kane.
Kane's safe. It's also for Evander Kane's safety too. Like it's not the NHL trying to say like ripping on him. It's also like COVID's real. Like although it's not going away, you still need to get protected.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And
I'm
I
sorry,
think
but
no,
that's what I
you're
thought. Like I thought right there at the
200% right.
vaccine, the NHL should have just said you're suspended for the rest of the year, and if you want to get a contract next year, you're more than welcome to do that. It's just a matter of which team's willing to pick up the phone.
Yeah, that's literally it. And I don't know where Mario was planning on going with this, but like from a
I
hockey
apologize,
standpoint,
Mario.
I think it's undeniably any team would want him. A 30-goal guy who hits like on for by the way, it's 2.1 million. I just Googled
Okay.
it on
Sorry.
Cap Friendly. Any team would take that. And I don't think anyone's, disagreeing with that. It's like we said before, the point is, do you want this guy, in your locker room in a team like Edmonton that is having locker room issues, allegedly? Not allegedly. Do you hear McDavid and Draisaitl? He's bringing him a good idea. And then lo and behold, they go score. Like I think they beat them 7-2, the Canadians. Evander Kane scores in like the first minute. And then the next game on home ice, they lose to the Ottawa Senators.
Yep. And he goes,
It's a shit show. It's a shit show. So we'll have to see if it's worth it.
And I think the Edmonton Oilers, I'll turn it over to you, Jared. It's just the one thing. The Edmonton Oilers are just banking on, well, our locker room at the time of the signing can't get worse, the situation that they're in. So they're at rock bottom. You're not getting any lower. Basically, that's the only thing I can see Ken Holland banking on, because you're going with a great player. He's a terrific hockey player. Any team is going to want him, and I'm really surprised that he went to a Canadian market with all the news attention around Edmonton like that. How much the people care about that franchise and the moves they're making, how much depth they look into it. I thought he was going to go to maybe another no-name franchise. I don't want to knock San Jose, but a smaller market like San Jose and those other teams in the Americans. I didn't think he was coming to Canada, but lo and behold, Ken Holland takes the second chance approach, which I'm sure you're going to explore as well, Jared.
Second.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that's ridiculous. That's just a super stupid comment to make, because it's so much more than just, oh, it's his second chance. He's only done one bad thing. For years, there's been issues going on with this player, and there's a million different things that he's been either accused or proven of doing. He's not a player you want on your team. He's just a bad guy. But you have to, when considering a situation like this, you have to separate the hockey standpoint of it and the person standpoint. As a person, he's a piece of shit, and I don't know why they made this decision to bring it in. However, from the Edmonton Oilers standpoint and Ken Holland's perspective, I could give him a little bit, not of credit, but I understand why he made this move. As Mario said, things couldn't get much worse for the Edmonton Oilers. They were in shambles in that team. If Evander Kane works out, great. If not, can't get much worse. So I understand that perspective. And also, even from Evander Kane's perspective, I do think if there was any team that was going to do it, it would be the Edmonton Oilers. Because, I mean, Evander Kane wants a job in this NHL. Like, he needs a job in the NHL pretty much from his financial standpoint. And he's probably, you'd assume, that he will be on his best behavior for the next few months until his contract needs to be signed. So, hypothetically, I could see it working out because Evander Kane knows he needs to shut his mouth in order to get a contract. So if all goes well, he won't cause a stir or an issue with his team. Will continue scoring goals, which he's more than proven to be capable of doing. And he'll hopefully get an extension and stay in the NHL and maintain an NHL job. So from a hockey standpoint, I could see how it makes sense. And I can't completely go, oh, Ken Holland, you're an idiot. Because I get what he's doing. He's trying to save his hockey team. How's he going to do it? By getting a guy who could play with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Like, Evander Kane has all the skill and is a phenomenal player in the league. And that's why it's so frustrating when his name is constantly in the news for shit that isn't hockey related, because he just constantly does terrible things. And you have to separate it, though, the hockey standpoint and the person standpoint, because you could criticize the guy all you want, but you could also understand why Ken Holland made this signing. And that's a little bit where I'm finding myself, where he will help the Edmonton Oilers on the ice. I don't like him in the league though. He's just I'm all for a redemption story, but this guy's done too much. Like I don't know if he deserves his another shot in the league, his second chance, quote unquote.
And you brought up a good point, and we've been talking about and hammering it out on this Evander Kane talk. The line between hockey player and person. It's the way the league is trending. You mentioned Adamo as well. The culture behind this league takes the hockey player over the person, and I don't even want to go there. The NHL takes the hockey player over the person, because if you're looking what we've seen in the minors, obviously they've been doing there's been a bunch of players accused of things definitely inexcusable of that nature, but they are not getting any chances whatsoever because they're all the way down there. If they're in the NHL and they're doing that kind of stuff, that's the big question. I don't think we've seen it yet about something like that nature happening of the big show, but this is something as close as we can get. The hockey player always is going to win, as it's looking right now, over the person in general. So it's just an interesting storyline to monitor over the next couple of years, what the Edmonton Oilers are going to get from him. There's not too much things to go in depth about the story, just because we're all going to be in the same situation, the same boat with what we're agreeing with. So I don't want to spend too much time on it. I kind of want to move, and we're running a little bit slim on time, of course, as always. The All-Star game in Las Vegas. This is maybe something to look forward to. There's been a lot of changes recently, and if you want to get all the information on the All-Star game, what's happened, check out Jared Rotenberg's TikTok. He has so many videos previewing every division. Obviously, context was given about when it was released. So many things have changed, of course. But yeah, definitely check him out. You'll get all the news you need. That's where I got all my news for this segment, if I'm being completely honest. Thank you, Jared, for that. And so let's get right into it. Joe Pavelski, he is replacing recently McKinnon this weekend due to injury. He will be also captaining the Central Division. Roman Josi, I am very thankful of this. He will be playing in the festivities as well, as he deserves. He's the leading point getter on the Nashville Predators as a defenseman. And due to injury, Adam Fox is a big blow for the Metropolitan Division. He will be replaced by Evgeny Kuznetsov. And that's the big headlines, the ins and outs, the switches that we're seeing, the substitutions in the All-Star game that's been happening this week. What are your thoughts on the changes? And this has been the whole storyline about the All-Star game. Did the league get it right? Adamo, I'll start with you, and I'll work my way to Jared and Evan.
Of what, the All-Star game?
Did they get it right? We'll go a little bit more in depth with the All-Star game, but did they get it right with these players that replaced these said players? Was there any other guys that you think should have went over Kuznetsov, Pavelski, and Josi?
Jake Ensel's there, right?
Jake Ensel is there.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, probably not. No, am I missing someone obvious?
I'm trying to think on the top that I think should have gone.
Did it have to be on Washington? Didn't have to be on Washington, right?
It didn't have to be, but coincidentally, the guy I think that was snubbed is from Washington.
What, John? Do you think you're gonna say John Carlson?
I think John Carlson. He's first. Yeah. Currently, he's 8th in.
I was actually.
Scoring.
I had Svechnikov, and I said it before.
And that's an option. Like there's a few names. I think Kuznetsov, I'm not mad that he went, but I honestly think John Carlson should have gone. I think he's having an unbelievable season, a quiet, unbelievable season, because I don't think a lot of people are talking about him. I would have liked him getting the nod, but also I wouldn't be mad if Svechnikov won.
I think Svechnikov also brings that Trevor Zegras-esque, doing the crazy shit with the puck. I think that'd be kind of cool. Joe Pavelski's captain on the Central Division, I think, is weird. Like, why not? Why is he the captain? Make Kadri the captain. What the hell? Like that is definitely weird. I don't think he's been bad this year. Like, you want to throw Joe Pavelski to the All-Star game, go for it. But captain? He's captain, right?
Yeah, he was named captain after McKinnon fell out.
That's the weirdest shit. Was it voted on? Like, how did that happen?
I don't think there's a captain vote. Like, that's what got McKinnon there, but I don't know who voted for the replacement one. Unless maybe they went with second place in votes, and I guess Pavelski's been in the league a million years, so that's possible.
See, you know what? 48 points in 43 games?
No, he's having a good year,
like,
Pavelski.
It's just,
it's weird. I don't know. There's other guys that maybe should have been there, but I don't hate it just because he's been in the league a million years. And again, he has so much respect among these players. Like, I guess it makes sense rather than having a young guy be captain and it's like they don't really know these guys and whatever. But the captain, it's just kind of it's a name of, oh, I was the all-star captain. Like, it doesn't really make me too mad. It's more the people who are snubbed that gets me a bit frustrated. And
Yeah.
still, I mean, as much as it was McKinnon who got injured and it was just about finding a replacement, so they couldn't really replace him with someone. No, oh, sorry, I'm talking out of my ass. You know, Roman Yossi's the one who got brought in, but I was just thinking, like, I don't know. It's a little bit weird. The captain, I'm not as mad about. It's more the snubs that it gets me mad.
Yeah.
I'm happy Roman Yossi got in. Because he's
You're
as
you
well.
big
He's
Roman Yossi guy.
Yeah, I love Roman Yossi. First of all, he's a fucking man rocket.
He's a rocket.
And as well, he's currently sitting 4th in defensive scoring. So the fact that he wasn't in there to begin with, I was very critical of. Talk about my TikTok. I was very critical of that. I thought that was a bad move there. But in general, no, the captain, like, I get why it was Pavelski. I assume it has something to do with votes. That at least makes sense off the top of my head. That, okay, if our first place guy in votes got injured, then second place guy goes in. But it's kind of weird that Mikko Rantanen isn't an all-star.
That's
There's
guy,
still a lot of snubs out there, but
I think
get it.
Guys, we gotta also understand, like, not
everyone
everyone.
can go.
But it speaks to how stupid the All-Star game format is.
No, it definitely does.
So.
But I mean, like, I honestly didn't have a problem with Kuznetsov. And the reason why I didn't have a problem with Kuznetsov is that given context, he really stepped up for Backstrom. You know, when Backstrom was out with COVID and then injury, it was Kuznetsov that they really looked to step up. And I think he did beautifully. And I think that's why he got the recognition that he deserved.
Absolutely. And I'm going to move a little bit away from these guys who are finally getting in when they absolutely should have gotten in. I just want to get your quick thoughts on what has to be done in this NHL All-Star game to say the league did a good job of handling it in Vegas. I saw this new one come out. I believe they're playing blackjack on the shooters competition. That looks pretty cool. Seeing how many cards I guess they can hit. That's absolutely unique, and I'm all for it. But aside from that, what else has to get done? At the what has to get done there?
We lost you for a little bit.
Oh yeah, you want to
you're good though.
You're good. Froze a little bit.
Okay, I'm good now. Sorry. No, what has to be done for the NHL to get in your good books with the All-Star games? It's been a pretty poor showing over the last couple of seasons. They need to start picking it back up because this is something that they treat like their baby, something that they advertise the most. A lot of funding goes towards this. A lot of fans look forward to this, but it's always a downside every single year. So what has to be done this year compared to others where it's just something you're watching just for the sake of watching? Start with you, Jared.
Make it fun. Give people a reason to watch it. And actually, I like that they're kind of bringing both new events in to kind of incorporate the fact that we're in Vegas. Let's have some fun. As you mentioned, there's that event where they're basically shooting, and it's like when you hit a card, it's who could come up with the best like poker deck. So I mean, that's interesting. Like, I like that they're doing new things. I think in general they need to do things to keep it fun and entertaining and show us things like that we don't get to see usually of players interacting and stuff along those lines. I like the fact that they brought Trevor Zegras there, even though he was snubbed from the team. I like that they at least brought him there because he's a fun personality, so he's a good guy to have there. And they need to embrace what the event is. Sometimes I find it's taken a little bit too seriously and it's too structured. It's people are tuning in because it's these guys that normally don't get to interact are now interacting. Show us some behind the scenes shit. And that's stuff that it may be an Instagram post will get released in a few days after, but during it on the broadcast, show us fun stuff of people talking and interacting. And Mike, always there's a few guys mic'd up, but I want to see everyone mic'd up. I love seeing the guys interact and just like, I like that. One thing to give them credit is they brought back the breakaway challenge.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was removed for years. That was always the best event, but they decided, fuck it, we don't like fun. So they took that out. I'm happy that's finally back. Just do things that make it worth watching. And it has so much potential to be this fun event, which is why it's always so disappointing when they fall short. And it's really like, really, I just wasted 2 hours on that. Make it fun because it has so much potential to be this awesome thing that we remember for years. And always there's the occasional storyline, but just, I don't know, sometimes they really fall short. I have a lot of hope because I am someone who likes the All-Star game. And in Vegas, they're kind of embracing the Vegas ways. That could be really cool. I have hope for it, but we'll kind of still to be seen whether they're going to show up or not and make it a good show.
Absolutely. And Romoli,
Yeah.
anything to add onto that and anything they have to get done, maybe specifics as to what they can add to make it a little bit better, maybe going off of and jumping off the pigtails of the new card game that they released?
Yeah, well, step one for this All-Star game and making it better was those jerseys are gorgeous. I don't know if you guys saw
Yeah.
them. About fucking time. Two basic bitch with the logo, cool colors, cool design, bunch of stars because they're all stars. Looks beautiful. I saw them at my work. They're gorgeous. Which great. I love it. In terms of the blackjack, dude, that sounds like so much fun. I want to play it. I want to play it so badly. It seems so cool. Like as much as me and you guys know Peter, me and Peter play blackjack. It's
Addiction.
it's scary, but I do it in hockey. It seems pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I'm not a big All Star game guy, but I'm definitely a skills contest and All Star weekend. I love it. Skills contest is always my highlight. Um, the game I could care less about. It's just kind of the stars are there, so I'm watching it. But in terms of events, like solid. I'm not that water one, the fountain one. I think they're just trying to show off that it's in Vegas. I don't think it's
Mhm.
meant for the thing. It feels like it's that target shooting one from like the upper deck again, which sucked because you couldn't even see the puck. Um, but yeah, they're even if you guys heard, they're going back to for the shooting, the accuracy shooting. They're bringing back the paper targets, meaning they're getting rid of that stupid screen that
Robo.
like glitched out. Fucking that's so embarrassing. That's low key one of the most embarrassing things of this league is that their thing is glitching out. Like guys are hitting the targets and it's just not going off. Um, like I'm genuinely excited for this All Star because it seems too perfect. Like the breakaway challenge is back. The save streak is back. Save streak was awesome. That's low key underrated. The only one I would have liked to see, which I know they got rid of, is like the team skills one. I don't know why. I always have like a kick out of it because you're just seeing so many different shit where they're like the guys are one timer, one timer, one timer, pass, 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 stick handle, stick handle, stick handle, and like a speed thing. I always thought was pretty cool. So that'd be my only complaint. Honestly, solid job NHL. It's just about execution at this point.
Absolutely. And Evan, anything to add for the execution part? Do you think they will execute and this will be an event going forward that we actually look forward to rather than dread to watch?
Yeah, well, unlike the fucking Avalanche, I hope they execute
That was
better than
bad. I had the
Brutal.
option to cash out at 14 and I got greedy for 17.
dude, dude. I literally 3-leg parlay. All I needed was Avs money line. Bet $5 to win 21. And with 40 seconds left, some dude named Lawson Krause scored.
Hey, Lawson Gross.
I mean, I don't care though, because I still won $2. So you know what? My dad's like telling me to be positive. A win's a win. I still won $2.
You're
So
positive. Yeah, I'm positive tonight too.
yeah.
I'm
So you
very
know what?
positive. Well, not COVID, but I'm positive.
So you know what? I'll take it. You got to start somewhere on the betting, and fuck it, $2. Anyway, no, I'm happy with the fact that it's in Vegas. It's just a great city to have an event like this. I mean, it's going to be great. In terms of the skills competition, I really like that they're bringing back the breakaway challenge. I can see why they got rid of it because it did seem a little boring in my opinion. Like I like the creativity of the players, but like let's be honest here, none of the players are trying anything stupid to like injure the goalie because that's the last thing that they want to do is have their name attached to an all-star goalie's injury that causes their team to then go down under. So I was just never really a fan of it. I like I'll regurgitate, like the creativity because guys brought out their kids and, it was really cute seeing like Joe Pavelski and Brent Burns' kid doing,
Evan Davis just used the word cute.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, it was so cool, like seeing those like two kids.
You're
like,
right. You're right.
Like that was like I thought that was it was when it was in San Jose and like they're doing like they're celebrating and everything. Like I thought that was pretty cool. And I like the foam pucks again. I hope Kyle Connor plays in that accuracy one because I mean he would probably destroy the metal or whatever they used before that. I think he would destroy any of them, the foam. But no, it's cool. I like the blackjack thing that
I'm so excited.
They're giving the Vegas vibe, and I think they're executing well. Yeah, like they're definitely giving off Vegas vibes. Like it's gonna be a fun night for sure.
It's gonna be fun.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like can't wait to go there when we're 21.
Sir.
So
Follow the full what's the movie? Hangover. There we go. Yeah. That's on my bucket list. Try to have a hangover experience in Vegas. That is something I look forward to, and I hope that's something we can look forward to as well. We got this trivia segment coming up, so let's get right into it. There's some questions here that I'm hoping you know the answers to, but you never know these days because Evan Davis, well, whenever he's with us, you'll think it's the obvious one, and then he'll botch it at the wrong time, and then it's just the whole thing.
With what?
He's all the way down there with 7 points. You want to know? You want to know the whole context?
I'm just so discombobulated by I can't believe out of all the teams, it was the Coyotes.
Man, they really rocked your world, eh? It's
I picked the one game that they lose. Like out of all the times I could have parlayed, and I picked the one game that they
like when you parlay something, it's it's like you'll pick, okay, this game might not happen, but I like it, I like the odds. And then you throw one, okay, that's a gimme that just improves the odds. It's always that one that fucks you over.
Never the gimme.
So
it's funny. Like all the other ones I got just by like 1 or 2, like just barely. And then it's the Avs
where you think, okay,
40 seconds left that you can't even like get an empty netter or anything like
that. They took a penalty in OT too.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, like they cleared it off, but they hit the post in the shootout. Landeskog, that fuck. You're good looking, but I'm gonna give you a new nose.
He's good looking, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do trivia.
Yeah, let's get into the trivia. We got the 9th edition of Leafs Line Trivia. Updated standings are 11 points for Jared, 8 points for Adamo, and 7 points for Evan. So it's a tight race at the back of the pack, but let's see if anyone can catch up. I got question 1 here for you. Gary Bevan was a pretty prominent piece on this podcast throughout the show, and I got a weird one here from Gary Bevan. Gary Bevan and NHL announced that they have no plans, unfortunately, to relocate the Arizona Coyotes. In light of this, what was the last NHL club to move cities? I got Jared on the screen first. Jared,
I thought that was Adamo.
I got Jared on mine.
Yeah, no, it's Jared. It is Jared, but I thought I had
the Atlanta Thrashers.
There you go. That is correct. And where do they move to? Just for the likes of it.
They moved to Winnipeg.
Very good. And do you want to give me the year while you're just at it? Because you're just cranking them up.
2011.
He goes 3 for 3, man. It is 2011.
Embarrassing.
That is that's a tough one. But no, there you go. Jared has the first point off the board. That is question 1 for you. Evan, put your hand down. Stop cheating. I know you need to skate. Okay. All right. Question 2. The Flyers recently dug themselves out of a 13-game winless streak last week. Which team holds the record for the league's longest regular season losing streak? Evan.
I want to say it's the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That is correct.
What?
Yes. What was your guess?
I remember
I was going to say Washington.
Nope. Pittsburgh Penguins.
This was
2003, 2004, 18 games. And coincidentally, if you gave me one other team, you might have got it right too. The Buffalo Sabres did it last year, 18 games. So far, NHL teams did not pass the 19-game losing streak, which is quite frankly absolutely ridiculous that it goes on that long. But teams hit a rut, and some of them get it and some of them don't. These 2 teams definitely have not, but Evan has the point nonetheless. So Evan, you are on the board. That is the second question down. Third question, I do have a bonus one coming up as well, but the third question here coming at you. A couple of weeks ago, Sheldon Keefe picked up his first victory at T-Mobile Arena with a 4-3 shootout win. Where did Sheldon Keefe pick up his first career NHL victory?
God.
Ramoli.
You said where?
Where?
That would be Gila River Arena.
Arizona, baby. That is correct. And they have been getting so much, I wouldn't say love, but so much attention on this podcast today. If you want to know, it was November 21st, 2019. And it was actually that exact same road trip, the Vegas switch over to the Arizona Coyotes. And they won that game. I believe it was 3-1. So Sheldon Keefe picks up his first victory there. And the reason why I asked this question is because we were doing Vegas highlights for most of our projects down in school. And the only stat I really found on Sheldon Keefe, and I was putting it in my post-game my post-game little graphic there, was that it was his first win ever at T-Mobile Arena, which was really interesting. So I went back to my roots and found his first ever win as a Leafs coach.
Thanks.
Okay. Inspire others. I love it. And finally, we got the bonus question on the board. This one is tailored. Evan, you complained that no questions were tailored to you, but this one might be very well up your alley. Which of the current California teams is the oldest? Straightforward. Romoli.
Wouldn't expect it to be me.
Thought it was me.
Okay, it's wait, California. Are we counting old teams?
We're counting
Like,
the current California teams.
so just the three.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
So
one's
the
oldest?
Kings came in like 68. The Sharks are pretty new. It's not the Sharks. The Ducks, no, Gretzky inspired. No, it's the Kings.
It's the Kings. You were absolutely right. That is another. Is that another point for you? Did I write them down? You got 2. Jared, you got 1 if I'm not mistaken, and Evan, you finish off with 1. So somewhat cut in the chase here. So the end of the day, it is Jared at 12. I shall write this down because I have to update a couple things. 12 for Jared. We got 10 for Adamo, and 8 for Evan. And that wraps up the trivia segment. Questions are all complete. There's still controversy here in the scoreboard. It is getting closer and tighter. See who comes out on top by the end of the year. But that does it for season 2, episode 15 of the Leafs Line podcast. What a long episode. We went about 2 hours. Man, it is, we are in the wee hours of the night. I got to go edit this bad boy and put it together. But I thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for hopping on as always. And I will catch you guys next week for our show where we're either doing Leafs or we're doing League Talk, whatever tickles our fancy. But we'll catch you when the time comes. And I will see you guys all on the flip side.